The Marvel comic guy. He what's his name, Lee? The one that just got accused of hitting his girlfriend. The one that beat up his girlfriend, the Marvel guy. You ain't got him on the wall yet. I'm listening to you though. I can hear you.
His name is Kane the Conqueror. I don't remember.
What's his name?
Kane the Conqueror.
Huh?
That's what you call him, Kane the Conqueror.
I don't know, King and Conqueror, but what's his name though? I sent it to you with the lineup of the questions.
Okay,
Yeah, I sent it. Just somebody tell me that, man. If you tapping in, tell me. Jonathan Majors, man. He got a book for beating his girl up. So I guess it's about to be a domestic violence. You know how they say it was hot boy summer, hot girl summer. Guess it's ready to be a domestic violence spring. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I know he's all on the news. He's all on the blogs. They throwing him under the bus right now. But then you got some people saying that they said that the girl, after she made the claims and got him, pressed the charges or something, that she went to the club and was dancing around and shit. So they like, how you get beat up and then go to the club? Like, that don't make sense. But I don't know, man. There's always something going on with the celebrities. But, man, we in the building, man. We in the building, man. Episode something. I don't even know yet, man. But we in the building, man. We've been grinding for a minute, man. We just want to say shout out to all the fans, man. Everybody that been tapping in, you know what I mean, enjoying the cast. And we've been getting a little dry lately, you know what I mean? But, I feel like May or June, you know what I'm saying, we'll CPR, we'll wake them up, we'll wake the audience up, we'll wake the crowd up. But if you're looking at this right now, man, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment, man. And if you like what you see, man, leave something in the Cash App. It ain't nothing wrong to donating to the channel, man. When you go to a restaurant or you go to the bar and they give you a nice drink or give you a nice meal and you get the bill, it's just common courtesy of a gentleman, a gangster, a boss, whatever title you want to have, diva, anything you want to call yourself. You want to tip. So we ready to deliver some real good content today, man. It's probably about to be one of my favorite episodes. Over 200 some episodes done, and it's about to be one of my favorite episodes. Let's go, Lee.
This that new, this that new swag, this that new swag, this that new spaz, I say, new water, new ice, new neck piece. Police in the back, they gotta catch me. Only met me one time, she wanna sex me. New life, new bitty, yeah, she sexy. New water, new ice, new neck piece. If the police pulling up, they gotta get me. Only after could I touch her and she let me. New bitty, new bag, new VV. I'm the nigga with the bag and I ain't trap me. I apply a little pressure, ain't match. I can fly it in the mountains like a Latin. I could never fall in love, I learned my lesson. Grandmother still alive, so it's a blessing. If my niggas down bad, I'ma catch them. 15 to 1500, who want pressure? 15 to 1500, who want pressure? Fatality, my nigga on the beat. Get rich and throw my niggas on the beat. Street cred and I'm good on IG. Touchdown, all these niggas hate me. Niggas mad cause that girlfriend's like me. Off day and I'm here go boss sing. Well known, you can Google my name. Same click, all that best I want.
Yes. We back in the building with another podcast, and this is RawDope Podcast, and I'm your host, Hand 5000, and this is episode 233, man. Shout out to the team, man. Digital Empath, man. RawDope Production, Fatso Entertainment. We get it done, man. Shout out to Leader Genius on the board. Best engineer, producer in the goddamn city, in the DMV. I'm declaring that. Best podcast producer in the DMV. How, you like that feeling, that lead? You like that name? Leader Genius, best engineer, producer in the DMV.
Goddamn right. Yes.
Thank you. But listen, man, we got, listen, man, if you're looking at this, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. And again, man, it's episode 233, man. And a round of applause for all the podcasters that's working in Baltimore. And shout out to all the podcasters that's working in the DMV. And shout out to all the podcasters that's working globally. But, I represent my town, my section, my hood, my block, and I'm from Baltimore, and I'm a DMV representative. So at the end of the day, man, just shout out to everybody in the DMV that's getting it in, man. And this is a special episode. This is the topic. This is the Convicts Topic Tuesdays. So right here, man, when I introduce these men, they all honorable men. You know what I'm saying? They all play the role in their lives. They all unique in their own special ways. You know what I mean? They all gave their debt back to society. One of these men is responsible for helping other men free themselves. You know what I mean? One of these men just made the front page of the Baltimore Sun without being convicted, without being crucified, without having a negative vibe on his name. And this other guy, man, he came home, man. He didn't turn back around. He didn't go to prison. And all these men had sentences of 30 years, life plus sentences, man. And I got them in the building, man. And I put this together because I don't always want everybody to think that our platform is based around hip hop, but we cover news, sports, and entertainment also. But we also do reality checks. And this is just a reality checks for all my viewers out there that's under 30. That don't understand, and this is a special edition for Baltimore, because a lot of dudes let you know that you can get all this money, you could bust all these guns, you could do all this stuff, but they don't never let you know the dark side. We don't hear the story of the dark side. We don't hear the story a lot how it was to return from the dead. Because prison, life sentences, 40 and 50 years in prison, you're returning from the dead. You're watching, some of these men watch the 80s turn into the 90s behind the door, the 90s turn into 2000 behind the door. Goddamn iPhones, shit almost flying now. And some of these brothers just getting home within the last 5 or 6 years. But just a round of applause for that, for all the ex-convicts, man. And free all those guys behind the G-wall that was falsely and unjustly conviction, man. Free you, man. And listen, man, we got some cardinal rules on this, guys, and don't take this offensive. And I feel I'm like a kid right now, because I'm a kid right now when I get around convicts and older men that been through something, man, that represent the struggle and represent where I come from. A lot of y'all don't get that respect because, a lot of us is living under the Willie Lynch syndromes. The young don't respect the old, and people don't understand who paved the way for this. People don't understand why some of these laws are getting made. You looking at the celebrities and all these big names, but you don't know the names is inside of the little teeny law libraries that families is putting up their money to get them books, and you got to go get their briefs, and they briefs is shit you never seen before, and you got dudes that study law and better than attorneys that we giving $20,000 and $30,000 to. And some of these men learn law illiterate. Some of these niggas learn law by mistake. You know what I mean? But they learned it, and they all came out there situation strong, man. But listen, man, we got some cardinal rules on the podcast, man. No fuck shit, no fake shit, no foolishness. Anything you say can and will be used against you on the internet. And we gonna just go around the room, man. Y'all just tell, my audience your name, a little bit about yourself, a little bit about the area you from. And we gonna start with you, Nitty.
Most people.
This mic ain't on. Go ahead.
To most people, about 30 years ago, I was known as Frank Nitty. Mm-hmm. I received a double life plus 140 years sentence for several murders. As I got in prison, I knew that the way I lived my life and the way I was taught the game, it wasn't supposed to end with me living in a cage or dying in a cage. So I said, well, if they're gonna take the gun away, I said, I still need a weapon. I said, because it was against somebody bigger than I ever fought before, anybody I ever went against before. So I went to the library and I picked up a law book. I didn't understand what I was reading.
You cheating me. See, I'm like I said again, I'm like a kid with this. Just started out, I'm Frank Nitty, former 30 year, what neighborhood you came. Tell me a little bit about before the sentence. Because that's what they got to know that before they could get into your crates and your history.
One of the things that most people will probably know me about, especially back then. Well, first and foremost, I'm from Park Heights. One of the things that people might know me for back then is for a murder I caught at a funeral.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I killed a man. I can say it now because I've already been convicted. I already served the time. I killed a man at the funeral of a man who I already killed, who funeral it was. So it was a double hit. It was just things like of that kind of like the person who I was. It seemed like I was somebody much different back then than I am now. Even when I first came to prison, you know, I'm blessed to see one of the brothers here next to me that when I went to prison and learned law, I decided to start teaching law classes because it was a way of fighting back against the administration, right? Because we had no other way to beat them. You know, I used to always tell guys, I say, they got enough mace and nightsticks and shields and stuff like that to deal with you, but they cannot deal with you in the law library. I said, that's your most powerful weapon. And then it kind of developed a following, right? Because most inmates respected it.
What year that was? Let me just ask you something before we didn't mean to cut you off. What schools you went to coming up in the Park Heights community? How old was you born in Park Heights, or
yes.
how old was you when your family moved to Park Heights?
I was born and raised in Park Heights. I've only lived in two places in Park Heights. I lived on Spalding and Charlotte Grove and Virginia Avenue.
What part of Virginia?
The 3300 block.
Yeah, that's the other side of the street. I grew up on the 3500 block.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 46, 3500 block. But so what schools you went to? What schools was open back there?
Back then it was Green Spring.
Okay. I went to Green Spring.
Pimlico Elementary.
Pimlico Elementary still there. I went to Pimlico Middle.
It was Northwestern.
Okay, Northwestern in the building.
Yeah, I got kicked out and kind of I was in the streets ever since.
How old was you when you just first made that step off the porch?
Well, I made the step out the porch really early, way before the persona of Frank Nitty developed, because I think I was taught the right way. I started out running errands for the old gangsters, like for the during the daytime. I used to go down the Perkins Projects, and before I knew who Sam Cassell was, and for people like him to run errands and things of this nature, and to watch the guys play basketball. Then I would go over there on Baltimore Street, and I would go like if pimps would be shooting dice with each other, and if they was losing, they'd say, "Man, sure to go give me some dice." I'd run to the store and they used to pay me for it, or they would let me keep the change and everything. But I earned my way into the game. Like even when I first stepped onto the strip, I got ran off the strip because they was like, "Man, this ain't for you." But it's a difference now, where the kids are being given guns and a key of dope, a key of coke, or whatever the case may be, and they say, "Hey, go get rich." But this kid coming from poverty, so if somebody come in and take something from him, he's seeing his little brothers and sisters go hungry at night. He's seeing his mother crying. He ended up crying in another room because she can't feed her children. So of course, if somebody try to take something from him, his only instinct is to kill. Many people don't understand that. Oh, I think something just came.
No, you good.
We had this problem with these new state's attorneys and things of this nature and new attorney generals. They're trying to lock a problem away. But building more jails and making tougher laws is not the answer to the killings in our streets. It's not the answer. The answer is about having guidance, having people like me, the Rudy Williams.
Shout out to Rudy Williams. I had the pleasure of
Kings.
meeting Rudy a couple times.
Right, and every guys like this, the Joe Edisons, the guys that's really the Dennis Wise, right? People who have paved the way for a lot of the stuff that they do and don't even know that the reason why they're doing it, and But, you know, who really set the foundation for this? So and also, if y'all don't mind, I would like to give a shout out to a very dear friend of mine, as well as my little brother, Purple Boy. He's a very dear friend of mine, you know, AKA Ricky Horton, and Bobby Williams, you know, AKA Porky. You know, we trying to start a freedom campaign. You know, anybody ever known anything about me, it's always been about freedom. You know, I don't believe that no man deserves to be in a cage. You know, especially if he played by all the rules.
Okay. We gonna get back to you, Nitty. Who we got next on the board?
I am Kenny
Celebrity.
Bond now. Not a
Local celebrity, man.
But let me start out by saying that, you know, I got to give honor to the man next to me. Because as a young man growing up in a joint in maximum security prisons, see, everybody on the street that go hard, we see as a killer, we see as a bad man, they ain't that in a joint. There's only a select few of that maintain that type of manhood even in a joint. And the man next to me, ever since I known him, he been that.
Yeah.
He been a man since I was a young man. And again, I sat at his footstool and learned law, how to research my case.
A round of applause for that, man. Round of applause for the convicts, man. We gotta all do that together. Round of applause for the convicts, man, for making things happen. It's a legendary story. Y'all get to tell this story uptown.
Yeah, right. But you know, that's the thing, is each one teach one.
Yes.
It take us as leaders. It takes the men. That's the problem with the communities. That's what the brother spoke about. We need more men in the communities like he talked about that stand up men. You know, I realized something coming out. They're coming out dudes, everybody said, boy, them young motherfuckers out there crazy. They terrorizing shit. Boy, watch out for them young motherfuckers. They ain't like we used to be. But then when I got out of here, I realized the young ones ain't fucked up. They actually brilliant. They sharp. It's the 20, 30, and 40-somethings who been out here who fucked up, who putting the guns in their hand.
Right.
Whenever you hear something about a child doing something to somebody else, look at who gave them the gun. Look at who put the pack in their hand. The little ones ain't fucked up. It's these motherfuckers who still perpetuating the same thing. Get the young ones the guns. Get the young ones the drugs. We kill our own future. We kill our own seeds. To get back to your first question, I'm Kenneth Bond out. I did 27 years in prison for a crime I had nothing to do with, right? I grew up in Northeast Baltimore. I'm from Marble Hall, right? So, but I grew up all over East Baltimore. I started hustling at 13, you know what I mean, on Greenmount and Worsley, nickel bags of raw, all powder, all rocks. You know what I mean? I went to Chicopee, Winston, Northern, Lake, you know what I mean? And now I earn my bones in the prison the same way. But you know, in coming home and realizing all experiences and the things that I've been through, I realized that all other nations of the world are judged by the actions of the men. So I asked myself, as an African-American male, as a man of my community, am I a positive contributor? Am I the type of person that make the young people in my community better? Am I spreading truth? Am I a source of light and inspiration to raise those up who are amongst me? You only as sharp as those you're around. Am I the type to feed my friends, to give them knowledge and information? Do people feel better about themselves when they leave my presence? That's how I measure myself. That's how a man is determined. Do you take care of your children? Or how you stand up? How do you represent in your community? See, when we look at our communities and we ask who or we ask why, fuck that. We got to look at ourselves and say, why aren't we? Right? Listen, it's not the responsibility of the slave master to teach the slave not to be a slave. The slave master wants to keep the slave in that same condition so he can profit off of his slavery. We were brought here to be economic slaves. So the system, the man is never gonna teach us how not to be economic slaves, how not to kill each other in our communities, how not to sell each other poison. If we don't do it, if we don't bring the wisdom and come up with the solutions and come together and form think tanks, nobody will.
See, this is, and I can't agree more. See, what I've been encouraging a lot of these youngest brothers is that we had to put these guns down, and I'm gonna be blunt with it. They had to stop being punks.
Right.
You know, back in the day when we had problems, we went out in the middle of the street and we fought. You know, we fought whoever lost, they lost whoever won, they won, shook hands, and they lived to see another day. Now, you got niggas, the first thing that comes to their mind is, well, they got a problem, let me go kill them. And I'm telling you, a lot of you guys, you young brothers out there that's out there killing, man, stop killing them. Bang them in the mouth.
Yeah.
Because that's all they worth. You know, stop throwing your life away. You know, we sit down here now, you know, it's sad that we constantly complain about how unfair it is, how unfair that life is, how unfair the government treating us. But if you sit down there and stay out here and vote and sit down there and put your people, put your cousin in there, put your brother in office, you know, put your nephew in there. Mm-hmm. I got a nephew out there that I just sent home, right, because it's getting near his bedtime. Mm-hmm. I just sent him home. But you know what I call him? The next mayor of Baltimore.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
He's 4 years old.
That's right.
But that's
right.
what I expected him.
That's right.
You know,
If I could be home, if I could.
No, swing. I want to get.
Right.
I want to get more to you too, cause we gonna get in all that, man. We gonna get in all of that.
Yeah.
We want to swing it around. So, growing up in Northeast Baltimore, what schools you attended?
Yeah, I went to Chickapin, Winston. I went to Chickapin, got put out of Chickapin, went to Winston, went to Lake, then I went to Northern. But you know, once the block happened, it was it. You know, hustling after that. Let's get to it. Yeah. I want, if I could, real quickly though. I'm sorry, because I know Big Homie was trying to express this point about voting. And when we look at the wisdom from brothers that's out the joint that came home. Individuals who people said should never have another chance. They'll never see another day. And look what type of wisdom this brother bringing. When we elect the Ivan Bates of the world, when we elect these people who have no heart, who don't want to see fathers back in the community taking care of their children, because that's the answer to the solution. What do we do? Where do we go from here? Put the fathers back, bring brothers home.
Right.
Yeah,
the men who done built themselves.
Yeah, round of applause for that. I agree with that. I agree with that.
That is why they hated Marilyn Mosby the way they did and came after her husband. Right. Because what she did was she leveled the playing field. They kept on saying that, oh, she was letting everybody out of prison. That's a lie. Right.
I know a lot of dudes didn't get it.
Right. She had even-handed justice.
Right.
If a police was in the wrong, she prosecuted your ass.
Right. Yeah.
If you was a regular citizen of Baltimore, you was in the wrong, she prosecuted your ass.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Right.
I deal with even-handed justice all day.
That's right.
I'll take that over what we've been having since we've been here, since I've been born.
Right.
You know, I mean, let's be real about it.
But peep the game, Big Homie. You have a conservative media group, right? I ain't gonna say the station or the channel. We say we keep it real on here, right? Yeah. They owned by people who invest in prisons. So when they see Marilyn Mosby letting people out of prison,
you're talking about St. Clair, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
St. Clair Broadcasting.
Yes,
we
St.
know
Clair.
that they are a conservative consortium, right? And listen, they profit off of promoting negativity about anybody to help us. And they targeting liberal prosecutors all over the country who letting people out of prison. So our people, we watch this stupid shit because it's like housewives, right? It's like that is violence porn. That, you know, we see our city in crisis, man, them school system. We watch and say, yeah, them motherfuckers terrible. They be on them. Right. We don't realize it's skullduggery. It's it's game being ran on us. They pumping images, pumping danger, and feeding your mind so you will vote for who they want you to vote for.
Yeah.
They controlling your mind and you don't even know it.
We gonna get into it. Let's get around to this other convict that's in the building, man. Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourself, old school.
I'm TT, man. Born out of Murphy-Owens, raised out Char Hill. Went to school, elementary school, down Murphy-Owens 122, Sam Coach Taylor. Went out to Char Hill Middle School, then went to Carver. You know what I mean? To the streets where they caught up with me.
What happened?
I mean, I had a life as me growing up as a child down Murphy-Owens. I mean, if you know a little bit down Murphy-Owens.
Yes, sir.
I grew up in my mother house was a shooting gallery when I was a young kid. You know what I mean? And I think that made me the man I am today because I wouldn't leave my mother. I got family and they, like I said, I was child and everything, grandmother, but I wouldn't leave them. Everybody, my brothers and everybody rolled, I wouldn't leave them. So I kept going back and forth out child. But when I got to the age, because a lot of old heads down the projects like me, like Frank Nitty said, I used to do all the money for all the stores.
Yeah, me too.
Crack game. I mean,
A round of applause for that, Lee, for all the young guys that's my age now and still young that will take a $20 bill and go get an OG a chicken box. I did it. It was a badge of honor for me because I felt in my heart I was next. So I went to the store. I ain't going. All y'all dudes that never went to the store, never got y'all body beats for not going, y'all ain't where we from.
Ain't no question.
Go ahead, Tim.
No question.
Yeah, man. So I was out there at a young age. I mean, like 11 years old, really seen a lot of stuff. And you know, but my goal was once I got in the game, man, I'm gonna get my people. I got my mother out of drugs. Before I quit my 30 years,
Absolutely.
my goal was to get my mother out of drugs and to help my grandmother and them move from out child.
But see,
So
I had some, and I'm so glad you said that because
man.
it seemed like we done lost the
Yes,
art of
man.
that. We done lost the art of that. Like you had the young guys, they hustle now, and you hustling for what? Like,
belt.
it would have been the first thing you supposed to did. But I was taught when I got in the game by the real OGs, the real gangsters, what they call the mustache Pete's, to say, look, man, you get your mother, your siblings out of harm's way. Because if you're going to be in the streets 10 toes down, you got no other choice. Because no, then niggas going to start taking target practice at them. And that's what's real.
yeah, and growing up down the projects, man,
So how old was you when you caught your time?
I caught my 30 years when I was 22.
Damn.
I was 22.
How much you serve on that?
18.
Wow.
Okay.
How long you been home?
I've been home now 8 years.
Round of applause for that, man.
absolutely.
I'm mad. You almost finished parole, right?
I got like about 4 more years.
Hey, that's cool. How long you doing your time, Nitty?
I did 30 on mine.
Well, how old was you when you caught your time?
I was almost 22.
Wow.
I did 27. I went in when I was 16. Came out when I was 43. I ain't even got 90 days out yet.
I only have a year out.
Oh man, so I just gotta say this, man. And you know, excuse me, my voice cracked, but here you go, man. 27, right? Plus 32. If I'm not correct, that's 59 years, Lee. Add another 18 on that. What's that? 67?
77.
77 years. And I caught 14 when I was 25. You know what I mean? And I served 7 on that. So that's almost 100 years right now on this show. And you did life. And my experience in prison is I used to see dudes with life. And I used to have nightmares. I never wanted to be like that. But the dudes with life was more understanding than the dudes with 5 years.
Right. See, because a man with life, man, you got such a heavy burden on your back. I used to call it the 800-pound gorilla, right? Because it beats you down every day. Every day it gets a little harder to get out that bunk, right? Every day it gets a little harder to stand in front of that sink. And there's this piece of tin, not a mirror, this piece of tin. To brush your teeth, right? Every day this gets harder. Every day it gets harder to walk to the record. Every day it gets harder to have a hope that when you go to the record to call somebody, there's somebody going to take this call.
Answer, Lord,
Right.
man. You be praying while they
Right,
while the thing going on.
That shit, you
It's a
don't
chill in your body.
That's why, like, I have one of my nieces here with me, and she tell you every call I get from prison, I accept. If I'm on there with somebody in the street, I talk to them another time
Got
till I can get back to them.
Right.
I said they only got a certain time to do this. Like, one of the things, I made a decision while I was in prison that a lot of people didn't understand. But I did it not for what most people thought, but it was to save our system and thus start saving the streets. I became a blood, right? So I moved up the ladder. Everybody said, wow, man, Frank Nitty, you was a household name. Why did you do that? You didn't need to do that. Everybody, I said, wasn't for nothing else. I said, that's the only way I can get people to know that I'm not an enemy. I'm trying to relate to you. See, a lot of the young guys in prison, they don't know they fear the old heads. They fear him because they say, man, you trying to get over on me. You trying to
you on
take
some
something
homosexual
from me.
shit?
Right, you on some homosexual shit.
Yeah.
This and that. So I had to sit on there and sit amongst them and say, yo, take a look at me. I'm transparent. Take a look at me. And then they started saying, oh, damn. And then around the system, I adopted the name Old Head the Father. Right? They took on this name because they said I was such a father figure to so many of them. Mm-hmm. But I started guiding them right. Like this brother, like he said, he can tell he didn't attend my law classes. Mm-hmm. I started directing them to the law libraries, you know, instead to the basketball court. You know, wait, this man is here on the front page.
Yeah, listen.
He dedicated himself.
I want y'all to see this. You know what I mean? The man on the front page, if you ever see this, wrongly convicted, 27 years in prison, locked him up when he was 16. A man ain't get a chance to get a driver's license. Man ain't go to the prom. Man never been fully with a woman. Man never really drove a car. Man never really been to a 5-star restaurant. And they lock him up and give him a life sentence and make him serve 27 years for something he ain't do.
I should have said, if I could
real quick, I want to call out a lot of these attorneys too around Baltimore, right? For not having enough backbone to take on cases of guys that you know that they can help, but they don't. And I would like to give a special shout out to an attorney by the name of Daniel J. Wright. Real briefly, tell my story. While I was sitting in there, I wrote every law college in the country, asking them, say, look, could y'all at least look at my case and ask them, can you take it on as a class project and then send me the results? Everybody denied me. I wrote 102 lawyers asking them, man, could you take my case pro bono? Finally, a lawyer by the name of Daniel J. Wright, he was the 102nd lawyer, he wrote me and said, hey, send me your stuff. And it started there. And it's so sad because I was a nothing convict. Did they not know that the stuff that he was saying was what I was saying? I was the one telling him, hey, say this, look at that. And he even said himself, he said, wow. I told him about something about a footnote. He said, wow, he said, I forgot the first thing they taught me, my first day of law school. He said, always read the footnotes. And it's because of that footnote, it's the reason why I'm sitting in front of all of y'all today. Because I was smart enough to find out about the footnote and read it. So I'm sorry for cutting you off, brother. Yeah, this is what needs to be said. Like, I keep on telling brothers, like, the violence out here now, the violence doesn't have a purpose. Nobody's getting rich off of it. How can you tell your mama, my mama in prison, but I can't help you no more? You can't say, my mama in prison, but you living a life of luxury now. You can't do that. You can't tell your kids that. Yeah. Don't get mad at your baby mothers for not bringing kids to see you when you ain't have a purpose for the shit that you do. Have a purpose for it. That's what I always tell dudes, and that's been my direction.
Yeah. So real quick, to
piggyback what I said earlier.
I went to prison young, but I had children young. So at 17, I had 3 children.
Oh, wow.
That really was my motivating factor while I was in prison.
Serious. So they all like the same age.
Yeah, right. Is that so?
That boy was doing his thing, boy.
I got 27, 26, 25.
But when you went in there, you had a few good memories because a lot of dudes ain't never even sling that pickle to get 3 of them.
Well, I mean,
so you had a little fan club for a minute.
Well, for people that know, they know. So obviously, I was young. I had cars and all that. 15, 16. I was out there.
You was an early bloomer.
Yeah.
And back then, you could get a car at 14, 15 years old.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You need a license and all that. But my children were my motivating factor. And realizing that, where we redeem ourselves, how we come back as a people, is just take care of your children. We need the men to be fathers to their children. If you don't teach them principles, the streets gonna teach them. So either you discipline them and teach them right, or the police gonna do it, the system gonna do it. It's up to us. It's our responsibility to be the fathers to our children, to rear them, to raise them the way they deserve to raise. And again, you know, I can't say that I was there for my children, but they'll say I always been a part of their life. You know, my son, Naval Intelligence. He in the Navy, stationed in D.C.,
Wow.
Naval Intelligence.
right.
My daughter graduated from the University of College Park with a master's, live in Cali, travel the world. You know, my oldest daughter, she shined too. She a cook, she live in town. You know what I mean?
A
But I'm
round of
saying-
applause because they was a round of applause for that, Lee. They was expecting your kids to be fucked up, institutionalized, and your
Teenage
son
parents,
to come
all
in
in
the
the
joint
joint.
with you.
Right.
All
And
in the
that
joint.
didn't happen, man.
But it was because, you know, I didn't really meet positive man-type mentors until I went to the joint.
Yeah, me neither.
It was people like Frank Nitty, you know what I mean, who was stand-up men who demanded respect, but still was honorable enough to reach back and help the young. Look, no, shorty, you got work to get out of prison. You know what I mean? It was men like that I watched and say, damn, that's what I want to be like. You know, and we build ourselves off the images we see, the people we meet, you know, and that's the problem now. So we as men got to make sure that we reflect, you know, man-type principles, you know, honor, you know, the triple cross, all that bullshit, dumbass shit, stab your man in the back. You know what I mean?
What they call it, cruddy buddy.
Right.
I mean,
Cruddy
see,
buddy.
they think, see, they done made this type of stuff slick. But this is what I'm saying. How do you cross the same nigga who you call his mother mom? Y'all done ate all the same spoons and forks, right?
Across
You
the
know-
nigga that you told you love before.
Right, told nigga
I
you
ain't
love.
out that mom.
Yeah,
I don't
you
understand
right.
that shit, bro. Like, you just told that man you love him, bro. Like,
But
what
it's
the fuck
not-
is wrong with you?
But
Like,
it's not for us to understand, you know, because it's fuck shit. No man will ever understand fuck shit, and guess what? He's not supposed to.
Right.
Right? Only thing you gotta know is I need to stay away from that.
Right.
And see, guys gotta start having backbone to say, I don't care if a nigga is my homeboy or I grew up with him. If you did some fuck shit,
Right.
then you did some fuck shit.
Yeah.
Right.
And you need to be told that.
Right.
Right? Because, like they say, friends don't let friends do fuck shit.
Right.
Like motherfuckers don't let drunk
friends
drivers
don't let friends drive drunk.
Right.
Friends don't let friends do fuck shit. So you check your man, because if this your man, if this somebody who you willing to get out there, you might have to fight for, you might have to get your last dollar to,
Right.
to feed his kids.
Right.
You know, if this is somebody who you embrace like that, then you're responsible for him.
Listen,
Now,
that
he
27
responsible for
hurt.
you.
Them years hurting that
Yeah.
joint, man. Laying in that bunk by yourself, no woman. That cold hard ass
Right.
bunk. Fucking police, COs all on your back.
Smell like
Man,
wet
what?
dogs doing
Right,
bar
the
check.
Fool.
And
Yeah.
Man, listen, you listen. The
Yeah.
joint, motherfuckers go hard to
Yeah,
I'm
right.
telling you, the joint is, listen.
Joint ain't
That
it?
bit ain't no way you want to be. I'm
And
telling
also,
you.
Yeah.
also, and this is only for the women who, you know, whether they mothers, they sisters, they nieces, they cousins, they girlfriends, baby mamas, the ones that sticking in there with guys, right? You know, you don't have to sit down there and write him every day, but don't turn your back on him. You know, if this is a man that you want to say that you love, you know, be there for him. Like, because when you was on that ride with him, just like he knew this might happen one day, you did too. So they got to be real with themselves and say, come back. Like, you know, it's a lot of guys like my wife. I give a shout out to my wife. My wife been hanging in here, man, for so long, named Tara. You know, she been hanging in there for so long. And she raised our children. My daughters, Ashton and Antonia, she raised them to love me. Even
You had
though-
them before you went in the joint?
Right, yes.
And then the same one you had your kids by rode your bit out with you?
Right, brother.
A round of applause for her.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's a rider. That's a woman, bro.
She mad as hell with me right now, but you know, hopefully we can get past it. But and I give a shout out to my son, like they was raised to love me and respect me, right? And I used to sit on there and sometimes watch them walk out the visiting room and hear them say, "Well, I love you," and I would sit there and say to myself, "Why?" Because I know I'm not physically there. I'm not there for them financially like I want to be.
That's fucked up, bro. That's
You know-
deep. That's deep. That need to be a clip. That's deep. Like you was locked up so long, you didn't understand why your sons were telling you they love you.
Right. With my daughter, I didn't understand because how can you? I'm not there.
Right.
I'm like, but I started understanding what I meant to them. It wasn't, they didn't love it, because I don't understand people who love out of tradition. You know, I love my mother because I love my mother, right? But I wouldn't love my mother because generations before, somebody loved their mother. I love my mother because she meant something to me, right? Just like it would my father. So a lot of people, they don't understand that, you know? So I started understanding what I meant to my children. You know, they was like, okay, if y'all can get past the crimes that he was accused of or convicted of, and my father is a good guy. You know, he's a great man. My father, you know, he believes in, you know, equal justice, and he don't believe that he should have to, you know, let you step on his back in order for you to get to the top. You know, and that's what, like I said, even down to the end of the joint, that's what I did. I took these kids, no matter what they call themselves, and say, hey, you can do better. Encourage your family to do better. And like this, brother, when we be in these libraries and I'm teaching law, I say, hey, man, you can do better. It's not just all about law. You can do better. And he's a prime example of it. He's sitting here today because he believed that he could do better. You know, he was convicted of a crime he didn't commit. So here you go. He knew that he wasn't just another number.
That's right, and that speak to the system. That speak to the system, like you know, we spoke a little bit about Adnan, and you know, it's a few of us who had the same crooked detectives involved in our case. You know, and they the same ones who the gun trace task force came up under. So you look at a lot of dudes in the joint, man, really don't belong there, man. Crooked police framing dudes. Right. That shit real. Dudes need to know what they facing in these streets.
Yes.
Right.
And they need, excuse me, real quick, and just as well, the correctional officers as well. See, because here it is, you got a bunch of guys who might have got bullied, might have got their girlfriends took, you know, in high school and stuff like this. Now you done gave them.
Just stop being a virgin when they got the CO job and shit.
Right.
First time they really had a chick touch them.
Right.
First time you got some sloppy top little bro.
Right. So
you think she learned how to do it, homie?
Right. These
ran through already.
These are the dudes that they have put in charge of governing guys like me. And I'm saying, but it's the system. It's saying, hey, because we know this guy hates you already. It's easy for him to oppress you because he hates you already, because you remind her of her baby father who she said, he's a piece of shit, and he might even left. That day. Right, that day.
Now she coming here playing with us.
Right.
The convicts.
Right.
Now somebody slapped all the shit out of her. He got a new charge.
Right.
The TR locked down. That's a whole bunch of stuff. Because that man made you mad, and you coming here with niggas with life, 50, 10 years, and we mad naturally.
Right.
You come in on the streets, baby girl, when you can leave that nigga alone and do what you want to do. You come in bothering us in our dog houses.
But make sure we say to the dudes that go in, like, you know, like Big Homie did, you know, when you go in, you gotta work on yourself, man.
Yeah. I had to
like
too.
You be double busted. We go in and we chase the squares, we chase the 3 or whatever, you know, and we don't work on ourselves. We don't build.
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never been one of them.
That's what I mean. And we come home worse than when we went in.
See, you gotta have
dudes coming home with dope habits, man. That's the worst thing I ever seen in prison.
You gotta have your priorities straight. See, I was talking to a brother earlier. I said the last 2 years of my bit was the hardest years.
That was me earlier, man. That was me, OG.
It was, and I'm like, it was because I had to take so much.
Yep.
Right? But see, you had to, if you know that you are somebody on these streets and you know your potential, whether you was somebody before you left or not, but if you know that what your potential is, you say, man, if I hit them streets, I'm gonna get rich. If I get them streets, I'm gonna become a politician.
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna become a CEO.
Yep.
Then you know that, hey, you got this one. Now you don't put your hands on me, you got this one.
Right.
Right? Because I'm gonna get back in these streets and then I'm gonna show you what I'm really about.
That's right.
You know,
And that's the plan. That's the mission. Like when they let us out, like, you know, we supposed to come out like, no, we ready to change shit. We come home as game changers. We come home to build with brothers like yourself who already out here doing stuff to see how can we get in these streets, man, because it's our responsibility. If not us, then who? If we don't get in our communities and help the young people and stop the violence and stuff that exists there, then nobody else will. We as the men in our community, we had to take full responsibility. We got to come together and form think tanks. Say, look, yo, this group, y'all got this up there. They got this down there. Nobody getting nobody way.
Right.
We got to begin to regulate ourselves with order.
But
we got to understand, man, that we need to understand that when a man is an elder, that we give respect to that. We honor him for the debt he paid, for the work he put in, and we allow his voice to be heard louder than anybody else. The same way he understand, he ain't to be fucking all our mothers, mess with our little sisters, having us dusting each other. You know what I mean? And we all gotta play fair where everybody eat. It's the way we gotta begin to look at it. When I see your mother is my mother, and your sister is my sister, and your wife is my sister, I ain't trying to bust your wife. I ain't trying to take your bag
and the
or
sad
stunt
part
on you.
Man, you the same age. So I say this to say that that's what's rough for a dude like you know, our age group, and you meet a woman and they don't believe in honesty no more. They don't believe that.
Right.
And I struggle with this. They don't believe in honesty no more. And they don't believe when you tell them, hey, listen, baby girl, I'm not the type of dude. I don't know what another dude did, but I'm saying I like TT said, I grew up in the shooting gallery. You know what I'm saying? My grandma's house was a shooting gallery, so I don't really play like that. Shorty, I know how hard it is in jail. I did a scratch in a cell 7 years without a woman. Right. So I'm saying if you stepping up and helping me in the joint for one, I don't care where you at when the phone's cut off, because that ain't none of my business. Right. You know what I'm saying? So dudes is messing with these women, coming home and messing them up. So when you tell them like, shorty, if I don't love you no more, I will tell you. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest.
For our women. Because listen, in the joint, in the visiting room, that's all you see. That's who hold us down. Them niggas you run with, the dudes loyalty. Them niggas is nowhere to be found.
So I want to tell the women that ain't a real nigga. That ain't a real nigga that crossed a chick that rolled a bit out with him.
It's not. But see, here's the thing too. I want to say something because as somebody who's just coming home, I've experienced this. I want to say this, women. To women who have men that they ride a bit out with, don't cause him to come from one prison to another.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we understand that you're concerned for him, right? You're scared that he might go back or something might happen to him. We understand that. However, you have to give him a little room to breathe because he's been locked up like a caged animal.
Right. Yeah.
Think of this if it was yourself.
Yeah.
You know, most cells are the same size as most people's bathrooms.
Yes. With 2 men in that.
With 2 men in that.
And they gotta make room for every fucking thing.
Right, and you have to make room for everything. Your clothes, your cosmetics, your appliances, all this. And something the size of your bathroom. It's designed to make people, it's designed to pit people against each other.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they call it, a lot of times they call it a jungle. Right, because that's the way it is. But I'm saying, be supportive to that man. Right, be supportive and understand he been through something, especially for the ones who have men that did a scratch. Watch your tone, because he's not used to people screaming on him. He's not used to people getting in his face because he automatically get defensive.
Right.
It's not against you, right? It's not that he love you any less. It's that this is the only way he know, because for years, this is the only way he know how to survive.
Yeah.
So you have to take this into consideration. So if you rolled it out, then finish riding. Do your part.
Yeah, TT.
See, right now what's going on, I feel what's going on in the streets, you know what I mean? Because me, when I grew up, my people that got high, like, they covered it up. Like, as far as though, like, you had a lot of old heads sniff dope getting money. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you ain't had, right now, you got the females out here like the men. I mean, the females is more addicted to these Percocets and stuff. That's dope.
They the new men.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They the new men.
You know what I mean? The females.
Post that
Yeah, man.
comment, please, Lee. Them comments is popping up.
Yeah, the females out here is like, yeah, I mean, you know,
What's going on?
that's why I ain't never seen this many females get killed in the last 3 years of my life.
Yeah, me neither.
In my life, I never seen this many females get killed in Baltimore City. Me growing up, and
I was saying something being posted.
like always say, man, it's like you got to really, if you strong to your man, it don't take much to answer the phone right. I mean, far as though the average dude in jail already know my girl out there fucking.
Yeah.
Believe that.
What the fuck?
You know what I mean? But if you still keep it real,
I believe it's some women that didn't give up that pussy.
no.
Out of 10, out of 10, out of 8 out of 10 fucking on you.
I'll tell you what I told my wife.
Ain't none of my
I
business
said,
on
look,
the joint.
I said, if you have, she always what she did. I said, if you have, I tell you what, take it to the grave.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to know nothing about it.
that's what I'm saying though.
I want to keep you. I want to keep that image of you.
It's some females.
But you don't think of 30 years though, Nitty. I ain't
That's
cut you out
what
there.
I'm saying.
No, we gonna get back to you with that. Let
Being
TT finish.
realistic, yeah.
Because I want to be realistic.
Yeah.
30 years, man. I know, baby, you done
Alright.
you done spent the bet.
Ain't no
That
problem.
that don't even matter though.
Ain't no
Yeah, it
problem.
don't even matter. That's
Listen,
what
ain't
I'm
no
saying.
problem if she
That's right.
that's the key to it. She can have sex now, but she ain't give her heart to nobody, and she still stuck with him the whole 30
right.
years.
That's what matters.
You know what I mean?
That's all you ask. That's all you can ask.
I never met her a day in my life, but I got the utmost
You know
respect
what I'm
for her.
saying? Like
Shit,
when
man.
when I went, dude, the girl I was dealing with, she wrote the first 8 years.
Yeah, I was there with you. Yo,
First
you was
eight-
real heartbroken about that.
I mean, no, I wasn't heartbroken, but she came to me as a woman.
And
I
told
said,
you, go ahead.
I can't do this no more. I gotta live for me and my daughter. You got too much time.
Dang.
We friends right now.
What was it? Let me ask you this question. So, because I'm going to give all y'all a penitentiary term, and you tell me how you carried it. So, you on the phone. It's a good day. Took a shower. You went out in the yard. You got your sodas. You was a stir-fry king. Everything good all right today. You got 8 years in on 30. You ain't thinking about nothing. Boom, you make the phone call. This is the day she want to have her epiphany. So she hit you with it. So you say, thank you. No, listen, thank you. Now give me the conversation. Thank you. She accepted the call. Now give me the conversation.
No, the conversation, she came to see me.
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean? You know, because I had a stroke while
Yeah,
I was locked up.
I was on the tip.
Yeah, I had a stroke. I've been shot up. I can't do that. She waited till I got to do all that and came see me and say, I can't do this no more like this because I got to live for me and my daughter. But your daughter will keep coming to see you, do you? Because the first 8 years, she wouldn't let nobody come see me. She brought my other kids, and she did everything. I got family. I got family wanting to get at me. But when she came and told me that, well, you going to start letting my brother, everybody else come and bring my daughter what? That's how my daughter come. But we right now, when I came home, we still to the point. That's like one of my best friends. She done had 2 kids the last couple of years. That's when God blessed her. You know what I mean? Because she ain't do nothing wrong in my eyes. And when I go to that court at 30, she paid the lawyers off for $15,000. She did everything. I was only dealing with her for like a year.
Dang.
Before she did all that.
You had a kid by already.
You know what I mean?
Oh, you had your kid in the joint.
No, I got 3. I had all my kids on the streets. I got 3 kids out Char Hill by one girl. And her daughter's not my biological daughter.
But you raised
I raised her with my older 2 kids. When I started dealing with my baby mother, she must start. I was going to be a shitball nigga. No, I take my kids with me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So when I started them, I still paid all our bills and all that. You know what I mean? My kids was comfortable on that roof. They stayed comfortable. I just wasn't on the roof.
I believe in that. If you break up with the chick, you still supposed to take care of her.
That's a good woman though. She kept it 100.
Yeah, like that's a good woman. I respect that.
So I
Was
mean,
you heartbroken?
Nah, I wasn't heartbroken because, I mean.
You wasn't hurt?
Nah.
Dang, I'd have been hurt.
Nah, because we had 8 years in. And then I already expected. I mean, I done been around a bunch of wise brothers. And,
they telling you that she gonna go.
And
Niggas telling you she gonna go.
Not just that. They told me you got to focus on. That's why I got my GED. I got 3 shops. I worked. I ain't just going to jail and this. You know, I worked nowhere. I got my car and all that. I worked there. So that kept my mind over. I still was sending money uptown doing what I was doing as a man. So it wasn't no problem with that. But
I was in there with you. I know.
She just said I just had too much time, and I understood that. So at the time, boom. I mean, I had a mother. I was female.
After this, was you still being the fathers of your kids?
Yeah.
To this day, my kids.
Absolutely. See, I believe that a lot of fathers, they think that when you break up with a girl,
you ain't gotta be a father anymore. Yeah, I don't respect that.
Yeah, and I don't respect that.
I don't respect that either.
Like, my child has nothing to do with the problem.
Pull the comments on the screen, Lee.
You know, we had my
It's a new one.
Me and my baby mother problems don't have nothing to do with my child.
Yeah.
You know, but I always say this. Even in prison, it's still your responsibility as a father.
Yes.
It's like you got some guys say, well, man, I only got $50. Well, you created a life. 25 of that should go to him.
Or not even to me.
You know, it might be
go to him. I gotta live off the land.
Right.
That's what it is.
And that's another thing.
I'm gonna live off the
What
land.
happened to the Flatfoot hustlers? It's no more of them.
Yeah.
You know, I used to see dudes, man. I used to always tell dudes, man, I can sell rain to the sky. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't understand why guys think now that I trip because I say if you take drugs out of the equation, right, and guns, most motherfuckers are starved. You know, if they had to hustle, they'd starve.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I say, even in the joint, I've been fortunate enough to have a female in my story pretty much my whole bit. Even when things got rocky.
My whole bit.
My whole bit. Even when it got
You had a female your whole bit?
My whole, that's what I'm saying. When she started, the first 8 years was her. Then when she told me, then another female I did like 2-3 years with her. Then when she never wrote, that's how I wrote out. But I'm saying,
You kept a pen pal.
I kept somebody I call, I talk to you, write me, come see me.
Right.
That way I mean because I'm a good dude in heart. So they already know what I mean.
Let me tell you something. I learned this from a dude by the name of Corey Fox. Real name Corey Green. They call him Corey Fox.
I know him.
Yeah, you know Corey Fox. He told me, he said, you know what, Frank Nitty? He said, never let your name die in the streets. He said, because once it die in the streets, you good as dead.
Yeah.
And I had the fortune of, like even my niece, she was raised, my niece Sugarhead, she was raised to love me by her grandmother. She was raised to respect me and say, look, keep on believing that he's going to get out because he's going to get out one day. If it's a way for him to get out, he's coming up out of there. I'm telling you.
That was your mother or grandmother?
That was her grandmother.
Your mother.
Right. No, it's actually, it's her grandmother, but it's my son's mother's mother.
Okay.
But I always call her my niece. Right. But they was raised like this. My nephews and everything, they was raised like this. And it been passed down for generations. That's why I say you can never let your name die in them streets. Because once you die in the streets, then so will your assistants die. You know, people only want to help you when they thinking about you.
Yeah.
And I take from that
prison.
the importance of being a stand-up man, the importance of being a principled man. I mean, you keep your word. You know what I mean? Keep your word. If you say something, let your word be your bond. You know what I mean? If you can't do it, say, boy, I can't do it. I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Keep your word. Let your word be your bond. And listen, I know what they used to have a saying, a line man, a half a man.
Half a man like
Right?
that pickle.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, you gotta understand, man, that everything you do affect you emotionally, affect you chemically.
Yeah.
You know, you had chemical reactions, man, to thoughts. So you gotta live your life in a way, man, that you live principled and you live stand up, whereas though your name never die from you sacrificing your morals and principles.
Right.
You know what I mean? They matter. Morals and principles matter.
And you said something to me on the way into the studio. You said, man, you one of the few dudes I could say that, man, out of dudes that had flaws, I never seen one in you. You know, I was the same guy. And then he told me, man, you was the same guy in the joint that you was in the streets. That's not easy.
At all.
Right? It's not easy.
At all. No,
And it's such a balancing act
I seen some of the toughest guys in the streets when they get in jail.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I seen some of the toughest guys in the streets get in jail, texting.
Bitches. Be
You know what I mean?
bitches.
You know what I mean?
Don't hold
All
me
that.
Here's some names.
Yeah,
Don't
boy,
sugarcoat that
I'm
shit.
telling you.
Because one day,
I would hate to tell some of you girls about your baby fathers and your
Right,
big
right,
brothers
yeah,
and
yeah,
your
exactly.
your cousins and shit. Not so much the uncles. Come on, TT, you going? You know that's $2,000.
that's right.
I mean, come on. Then you don't know no way to do it. It's
Right there.
the man
No, but
losing his
that's
cool right
important,
now. Hold up, you got my headphones
over.
wrapped
Let
in
me
your
get
hand.
it.
Yeah, see,
Like go.
But I got you. Right. So, you know, and that's the thing. And that's the thing in coming home and, you know, having these opportunities for 27 years, for 25 of those years. I built myself in a way because I said, I know I'm going to return to society one day. And when I return to society, I got to return with a fire for helping my community like the world never seen before. You know, and I prepped myself. I prepared myself for this day. And, you know, I say I want the opportunity. I want the mic. I want them young kids. I want the little teenagers who need blessings, who need wisdom, who need information, who need guidance, who need insight. We have to be the leaders. We have to be the teachers. Same way we was cold-blooded men in the joint, you got to be the same way as cold-blooded teachers out here to these young people.
this is why I made the decision as becoming a blood. People say, well, why are you doing that? Because how could I relate any other way? How could I understand what their problems was from on the outside of the house? That don't make sense. And that's what we keep on putting politicians trying to, how a politician going to fix down bottom, right? How a politician going to fix Park Heights when he never lived in Park Heights? How can he begin to relate to that? It's impossible. He can relate to that the same way I can relate to what's going on in the White House right now, in the Pentagon. I can't. I might can understand some of it, but I can't relate to it. So I started telling brothers, like, stop using a lot of these so-called OGs. Be what you call yourself, a real OG. Be a teacher in your community. Be a counselor, right? Be a good decision maker. Because once they get that, once they see that, hey, man, this guy's a good decision maker, they'll follow your footsteps.
That's right.
And stop letting them think that the only way out is either putting a gun in your hand and trying to take something from somebody or something else. It just don't add up.
And that's one thing that I could say I learned from you back then, that you were one of the ones that I considered had that revolutionary spirit or that revolutionary personality, where you wasn't going to accept being treated as less than.
That's what I am.
Hey, we go to war with the police, whoever.
Right, I didn't make me no
Right,
difference.
I
You're
know.
a man like I am.
And I think that,
A male.
and you know, in coming home, I think that that's the spirit we gotta bring home. That we had to bring that spirit home, man. And you know, I speak about on my podcast. It's coming soon, right?
Yeah, tell us about that.
A Knowledge Yourself TV, where we deal with cultural issues, we deal with social issues, we deal with political issues, we deal with correctional issues, you know, and it's all about enlightening our community. You know, we need master teachers.
Yes.
We need individuals, man, who could reach a person where they at, where they're
Round of applause for
understanding
that,
that.
Lee.
And
Right.
to
And
help.
it's that convict talk though.
Right.
Yeah, but listen, this is what we do in the joint. This is how we sit around
you
and
ain't gotta
build.
tell me. I
The
know.
5%ers, the ops,
Sunni,
you know, the
you know what I
Moors,
mean?
they all come
Nation,
together.
men.
Yeah,
but ain't it
absolutely.
nothing? It's just smart.
It's just smart. And see, that's so important. Like, so many men in the joint have given up on the young. And I'm gonna tell the youth something that's in going in the direction of the penitentiaries of the system. Let me tell you something. They just let out so many of the old guys, right? That wasn't by happenstance. That is by grand design. And I'm gonna let y'all know what they doing. What they doing is this. They got rid of a lot of guys who can help you understand and interpret the law. So you won't be able to fight back. That is what's happening. This is why Ivan Bates is saying, hey, I don't want you to have a plea bargain. I want to take it straight to trial. because he know you can't give it back now. So this is why the guy, I forget his name, is from the one of the.
You mean
guys.
he wants you to take a plea bargain instead of going to trial?
No, he don't want
you
you
take
to
a plea, you can't give it back.
No, he don't want you to take a plea.
Oh.
He wants you to take it straight to trial because you get more time.
Yeah.
So you take a trial, you get more time.
But he bluffing though, because if everybody went to trial,
did it,
80% to get found not guilty.
Guess what? All he got to do is do it enough, right, to make the example.
Yeah.
Nobody expects him to reinvent the wheel, right? They just want to see results, right? It's like most people's faith. They have a hard time in having the faith they should in religion because they can't see it, right? It's the same thing. He ain't got to produce the whole thing to get this done. But what he's doing, and that's why they toughen up on the laws now, because they got to fill them beds. Them beds mean money. You $32,000 a year per head.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's real tough.
It's all about the money game.
Yeah, it's all about the money game.
It's all about the money game.
You make $32,000, and they make you might say the average salary like $32,000. That's what they get for you sitting in prison. They give you $19 a day, or you get a shot.
What shot you don't get $19?
I'm just thinking about the old jail. See, I ain't been in the joint in a minute.
Let me tell you something.
What was getting, TT? $18 an hour? I mean, not an hour. What was getting?
$18 a month.
If you walk in the door.
A month.
I'm talking about the old jail. They used to give you that for nothing.
No, let me tell you something.
Yeah, for sanitation, $18 a month.
Yeah.
Stay paid.
But let me tell you this. Let's talk about these big companies getting away with using the prison to manufacture their stuff. Microsoft, all these big jewelry companies, the perfume companies, they down there paying these guys slave wage. These guys getting $2 a day for a job that probably make about $30 an hour, $35 an hour. You gotta get $2 a day. And but we can't complain about this because we haven't learned to come together enough to say we're gonna put our own man at the table, so he can have some say so, and he can make sure we get a piece of the pie.
Yeah,
we so busy trying to go against each other, and for what? Cause ain't nobody get no money.
Hey, let me ask you a question. So, because we run a little short, we gotta do a part 2 to this. But I gotta ask all y'all. So, one thing about it is, to me, service to humanity is the best work of life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We all been to prison, so we already read Message to a Black Man, how to eat to live. We read all the books.
Yes.
We understand this, so they get it. Because we was talking earlier, and I stopped you because I didn't want to cheat the people out the story. So you say you became most known for, and this is how I know of you.
Right.
I'm 44 years old. I'm going to be a man about it. We used to go around and be playing around. And niggas used to be like, I'm Frank Nitty. I'm Cookie Man.
Right.
You know, I'm just being honest. That's what we go around playing like that.
Right.
We play cops and robbers because all we know, we never seen you a day in my life. Right. I never seen you a day. It's some legends of Park Heights, East Baltimore, Emerson Avenue, all over the city that you never seen. Like, it's a bunch of niggas that never seen Anthony Jones a day in their life.
Right.
They tell you a bunch of stories. That's how your name
Great
is
guy.
in the name. But that's how your name is
guy.
in the Park Heights community. Like, I never met Rudy Williams, but you heard the stories of Rudy Williams.
Right.
Never really met Cookie Man. I seen him before. But you heard the stories of these different men that grew up in
everything.
Right. But you heard these stories of these guys. So you one of your most famous stories would dudes be like, Frank Nitty, and my father told me your story. Hey, nigga, Frank Nitty, craziest person. He was just telling my father was shooting a bobo, drinking his Colt 45, smoking his reefer, and he just telling me stories of the neighborhood. And he was like, yeah, there's one guy, Frank Nitty. He went in the funeral and killed 30 people. Now, I'm just saying, but the story get heroic as time go by. So when I told this, when it came down to me, I told the story, but I heard Frank Nitty had 100 bodies. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know, but that's what, it's a bad thing. But for us ghetto children, it's a wonderful thing because I was watching a unique audio from New York, and he was telling the story that his grandfather, he said why Jamaican people cut off heads, because he said when we were little, if you see a dog and was real skinny, his grandfather turned and cut that dog head off, he already died. Or they cut a chicken head off and see it. Right. So they said when they came, different places, they cut the head off. With you having that name for yourself, what led you in prison for those consecutive life sentences and all that time?
Well, Well, first, my parents died when I was 13. I died at a very young age, so I was really raised by the street. I guess, a lot of people, they use it in these rap songs these days and things of that nature, but I really was like, even now, stealing cars, I didn't steal cars for joy rides. I stole cars in the winter to keep warm, right? And like, speaking of the Murphy Homes, brother TC, I can remember when POCAST dudes used to hook up with Murphy Homes dudes downtown, and we would go bust the windows out of the jewelry stores and snatch a bunch of jewelry out of the jewelry cases we could, and all run and come back and try to sell it. It was these things because I couldn't afford a gun yet, right? We used to snatch people's pockets off on Fridays. You used to catch a businessman and run up and snatch their pockets off and run and see how much money we could have in our hand in their pockets, right? And then I was finally old enough to own a gun. Well, but not own a gun, excuse me, afford a gun, right? So, and a guy, which I don't deal with anymore, but he was my mentor. And he kind of created me like this. And he, like most guys, I think they just give it a gun and say, go out there into the world and live. But I was actually trained. And one of the things he did to me, and it almost brought tears in my eyes because I love my gun so much that he took my gun apart and said, put it back together. And I ain't know nothing about that. And that gun, it sat there for 3 days. I hated him for that. But he said, you don't deserve to have it if you ain't responsible enough to learn how to put it back together. It's a lesson that never left me to this day. But I would like to make sure all the brothers know I don't glorify the people that I had the misfortune of taking their life. I don't glorify this. I did it because it was something at the moment and at that time of my life that I thought I had to do. But it's not something that I would ever promote, right? Because to me, in order to live, it costs. And killing people don't make money, at least for somebody.
March, Wiley.
Right.
The funeral homes, they the only ones that benefit more than anybody.
Right.
Because they get the last say so. They get the last touch.
Right.
They get to do, you don't even, I seen some crazy move. I don't, it's another show.
Right.
Go ahead, continue.
But this is why I tell the younger brothers, I want them to start thinking about the consequences of it. Not just, is this guy who just made you mad, is he worth a life sentence? See, because it get real when you got to ask yourself that question, right? If you ask yourself that question before you go out and do what you get ready to do, it get real. Because it say, I know it ain't no coming back from this. Can you, I suffered the most horrible shit. I won't mention her name, but one of the most hurtful things I felt in prison is my girl, my first love, she fucked my homeboys.
Sure.
And she fucked 3-4 of them. And it felt like a hot knife cut me inside because I was like, oh, and the worst, she fucked one of my enemies so I felt like she let him get some get back. And it fucked me up, but it also made me stronger, right? But I always tell guys, is you ready to suffer that fate? Is you ready to be in the joint and you ask about your girl and your nigga say, who? You mean such and such girl? Such and such baby mother? You ain't heard from her in 9 months because she been pregnant. That's how real shit get. Mm-hmm. Or that nigga in the background beef with her because she's trying to show you some loyalty, but he put the press on her. Do you want that nigga in the joint who can't give you nothing? Or do you want what's going on right here now, what I'm doing for you, help you pay your bills?
Yeah.
That's a tough decision.
So what you get convicted of?
I got convicted of murder. Multiple murders. No, 4.
And what you were sentenced to?
Double life plus 140 years, 141 years.
And I got to ask you this question before I get to the next brother. For everybody that's watching, for these kids, because I'm going to share my experience too. TT, now I want to say you picked your 12, your lawyer fought, trial over, it's sentencing day. Give me your feeling and your emotions on your sentencing day.
Well, I knew that after the first one, because I had trials back to back to back. They didn't have it all at one time. And because it was a fight between the state and the feds, because the feds was trying to bring me to the feds and charge me under what they call the Federal Serial Killer Act. Because if you have 3 or more bodies of the same similarity, you're considered as a serial killer, right? So the feds wanted to sentence me to death. So the state fought because in order to be a serial killer, you have to leave a signature, right? It was no signature. The feds were trying to say that because most people were shot in the head, right? But they said, no, that's not good enough. So the state won. But it's funny.
So you mean to tell me the feds and state was fighting over who gonna have you on a slave plantation?
Right. Who's gonna have jurisdiction over it?
Wow.
Right. Because they wanted to try me on the death penalty. The state did too. And a judge by the name of Thomas Ward, his exact words was, no, because he's still young yet. So killing me so young wasn't good enough.
And you was 22?
Right.
Now, let me ask you one question before you finish telling the story. Was you 22 and was this your first dance?
No, this was actually my second bit.
So you went to prison as a juvenile?
Yes.
Prison or
No, I was
Boys
in prison.
Village?
No, I went to prison.
And what that was for?
I went to prison when I was 15 and 9 months because back then I was known
That's
as...
what they did. Yeah, 16. They hit me with that.
Right, I was known as a stick-up boy. Right, I was known around the city as a stick-up boy. So it's things like that.
At 15 years old?
Yeah.
And you lost your parents. How old was you?
I was 13.
So you was 13, and that's what I want everybody to look at. This man, whether y'all like it or not, he's a legend to me. I got the utmost respect to him, and I knew about him. And my brother, Free Purple Boy, Suwu to the Beehive. You know what I'm saying? Free my brother Purple, man. And we met each other, and man, that story that you telling me, everything that he's sitting up here saying, TT, he told me on the phone. We stayed on the phone about 2 hours, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? My initial end, and I kept telling him, like, man, you a legend, you a hero, and you forgiven with that. So at 15 years old, after losing your parents at 13 years old, that's the flash of life, that fast. Now you 15 years old, not even 16 years old, in front of a judge, circuit court, Calvert Street, and how much time you get?
I got double life plus 141 years.
At 15?
No.
No, I'm
at
talking about
that
your
time,
first
no,
bit.
I had 5 years. And it was a thing where...
So how long you was home after you came home at the 5 bit,
13 months.
and then you went back and got the life?
Right. See, because this was it was sad but it was the mind state of a child. I did so bad on my first bit because I just had an infant son. So my son mother wasn't able to do anything for me really. And being so young.
So you had your first son at 15?
Right.
My
Well,
mom's had me at 15, bro.
I was getting ready to turn 16. And what happened was she wasn't able to do so much for me. Which I understand. And then I was a child, so my friends was also children, right? So they could only do so much for me. So it put me in a mindset of this. I said, man, when I come out of here, I'm never coming back broke. Now think of that.
Prison.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm already preparing to come back. I'm just trying not to come back broke. And I say, man, I must have been really out of my mind. But because who prepares to come back broke? I mean, who prepares to come back to prison? But that was my goal. And at first, when I came back to prison this time, I had a few pennies. I wasn't rich. I had a few pennies. And the sad part about it, I had a sense of pride. How crazy was I? I had a sense of pride because it made this thing like I was a motherfucker who really did something.
Yeah.
I came back to prison for life.
So take me to that day so we can get everybody to get their story in. Take me to that day. Now, you was home 13 months. You back. You locked up. You lost everything. Nitty, you know, it's the word in city jail. I guess you was there when it was Killer K, ozone layer.
Right.
You was there when the sections was a section.
Right.
So the word all through the jail, through the Supermax, everything downtown. So Nitty got found guilty. Boom. Now Nitty got to go for sentencing. Take me through that day of your sentences and these youth and everybody that's watching this. This is a man that lost his parents at 13 years old, caught his first bit at 15 years old, got out 13 months after he got out. He fighting for the rest of his life, and he was found guilty at 23?
No, 22.
He was found guilty at 22, so meaning they took you to trial relatively fast.
Right.
So at 22, now take us to that day. You in the courtroom, they bring you in there, shackled up, they bring you upstairs. Let's go.
Well, I knew that I was going to get a lot of time. And I even knew the day, I could take you to the day even I got found guilty. I knew that I was going to get found guilty because they started adding extra police, right? It was like, first they would take me up there with maybe 2 COs and a bailiff. But then, like on this particular day, they had like 10 bailiffs. They had like 6 COs. And I said, okay, they can find me guilty, right? So I sat down there and I kind of mentally prepared myself as they take me down the hallway. It's a lot of people there. A lot of my family is there. There's a lot of other people there, and we kind of fight our way through the crowd. So when so when they finally get me in there, we had everybody sit down. It was people, it was kind of crowded, and everybody sat down, and the judge came in there, and he took kind of long to sentence me, because I'm like, hey, come on, let's get this over with, right? Because I knew that I wasn't coming up out of this. So he sentenced me, but he was such an evil person. What he said was this: 2 things. One of the things he said, he actually got me back out of here. But he stopped the jury, because one of the juries, like they walked, like they was kind of sad that they had to find me guilty. He stopped them in the middle of the courtroom. He said, hey, I noticed a lot of you seem like you're upset with your decision and you feel a little guilty about yourself. He said, don't. He said, this guy's a killer. He said, he's a killer, and you did right. And then he released him. Now, what he said, the issue that actually got me out was a reasonable doubt issue. And to hear that first sound, for the people who don't know the law, he said, he told the jury that they could compare the everyday events of their life with the reasonable doubt instruction, right? And he said to a moral certainty, and he based that moral certainty, he said to a moral certainty based upon a convincing ground of probability. Now you hearing that at first sound, you're like, what the hell, right? What the hell is that? But what he said was, if you think that he probably did it, then that's good enough for you to find him guilty.
Yeah,
as long as you think he probably did it.
Dang.
Because they know they didn't have evidence. They had people coming in their line. They had a girl to come in there and say that she was standing beside the victim the whole time, but she never got shot.
That's what they said in my brother case.
Right.
She said she looked at him shoot somebody. I said, how the fuck you look at somebody with a gun? Everybody doing like this.
Right.
Stop it.
But she was like, they was literally bringing dope fiends and crackheads in here a lot. See, back then, they had a war on really all the men in the city. Anybody who had a name, they had a war on them, right? And they locked them up. And they didn't just do it in Baltimore, they did it in D.C., right? And they locked them up. And that was their way of cleaning up the streets. And what they did was create a generation of rats, a generation of guys who
Don't get off the top of them.
No, I won't. But these are the things that happen. But like, far as myself, like the day that it happened, I never forget it. Her grandmother, my niece's grandmother,
was all in court.
yeah, she was in court. She stayed there my
Whole
whole
family.
trial. Yeah, the whole family stood there in trial. And she did one of the most gangster things I did. And it would remind you of any show you ever seen about Big Mama, right? Because she stepped up in between the COs in the bed and had my son by his hand and say, kiss your father. She said, kiss your father. She said, and one of the police said, ma'am, she said, he gonna kiss his son. And they backed up and let me kiss my son. And so it's things like that.
This is at your sentences or the
yeah,
guilty
this is
plea?
at my sentencing.
And what they say, so take me to what he said, the judge.
Well, the judge, like I said, that he really just announced the sentence. He didn't have a whole lot to say to me. He asked me, did I wanted to say something to the families? I said, yes. I said, y'all have convicted the wrong person. I just sat down. Now, at the time, you know, you got to try to get back out.
Yeah.
You know, so it's no time for remorse
Yeah.
at that time. But if somebody asked me, am I remorseful? Yes, I am. Right? Because
They asked you that in court?
no.
Oh,
but-
on the bit. On
right.
your bit.
Oh,
your
yeah, on my
journey.
bit. I've become remorseful for the simple fact of this. I don't know what this child would have become with a father. I don't know what he would have had became. I don't know what I robbed him of. Right? I don't know what I robbed his mother of. You know, so or if he had other children, I don't know what I robbed him of. So that's what makes me remorseful, because even if their father was in the game, they were not to blame. But they suffered the consequences more than anybody, because their father died in an instant. But they got to live on for the rest of their life feeling this. And like I said to any of the families that may listen to this, I am truly remorseful. I was a different person back then.
A round of applause for that. A round of applause for that. We got to clap it up for that, man. That's what I'm saying. And that's just the whole thing. You can't change who you are. So, Ken, you was wrongly convicted. What you was convicted for?
I was convicted of first-degree murder, assault, handgun violation, sentenced to life plus 60 years. 1997, I was 18 at the time. Yeah, I mean...
But you was already sitting for 2 years before they convicted you?
Yeah. So
You was already booked.
So what happened was I got caught up for attempt. But when I got caught up for the attempt, it was a murder and attempt that happened to happen around the same area. So they ain't had no other suspects for it. It was a real high publicized case. It was a Morgan State University student. It happened on a bus stop. A stray bullet, went through a car and hit a 10-year-old in the leg. So it was, every time I was going to court, it was on the news. When I first was arrested, the cameras was, there all the time. When I first was going Central Bookings.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I was in that crew.
So you remember 95?
I went in there in 96.
Okay, yeah.
I was charged as an
So
adult.
it opened the end of 95.
Yeah, over the end of
That's
95,
right.
so it was
That's
still
right.
fresh.
It was fresh. It was
still
neat. That's
fresh.
right.
It was bananas.
Yeah, so...
And we was the lost generation, because around the time you got booked for that, remember they came out with that shit in 93, and then they started saying they was going to charging juveniles as an adult back in 95 and 07. I fell
they had
victim
the
to that.
super predator thing.
Yeah, that's when they made our section a whole
Absolutely.
juvenile section.
They had the super predator
Yeah.
thing where they was calling young African American male
Yeah.
super predator.
Yes.
Hillary
Yes.
Clinton.
Right.
Hillary Clinton was doing that.
And say it was right.
Say we was the lost generation
Right.
of super
Right.
predators.
But here's the funny part. She asked for the black vote.
right.
She called out young men, call them predators and terrorists. But she come back, after she say all that, she come and say, hey, well, look, can you forget about what I just said
Right.
and vote for me, because I want this seat. And as I say, as a community, we had to start saying, no, we don't want no more outsiders.
Yeah.
We put our own in there.
Yeah. Go ahead and finish, Ken.
Right.
Sorry.
So I went through out.
What
I went
area
through
was the
all
case
that.
at?
Well, it happened in Morgan.
Oh, Morgan State. Yeah, you said that,
Right.
Morgan
Yeah.
State.
So that's my area. So, I went through out, and then you gotta earn your bones there.
Yeah.
And, I went through the ups and downs.
Yeah.
That's one thing about the joint when I came in when I was young. That you had to earn your bones.
You got to
had
shoot the fair one.
Stand on your own.
You gotta shoot the fair one. Win, lose, or draw.
Listen.
That's when those
There's a
rules
lot more
apply. It ain't matter if you
Right.
win or lose.
That's right.
Just you gotta fight.
It was a lot more predatory. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, I flew out of C-Dorm, shock trauma.
Yeah,
I
see.
was in it with nothing but my boots.
What, that's
on.
JCI?
No, that was
Oh,
when
the
the
cut.
cut. That
Oh,
was
the cut.
Yeah, listen.
So you was in the system when they closed the cut.
Listen, yeah.
You was in the cut when they closed it?
Well, I wasn't in there when they closed it. I got sent back to the annex.
Yeah, they tried to cheat us and told us when they was closing the cut back in like 06, 07, sign up to go to the cut, and then when they shut down, y'all going everywhere.
Yeah, right,
y'all go.
right.
I said, shit, nigga, gonna end up that new joint they build up
Cumberland.
Cumberland. I don't know. I ain't doing that.
When I came through, when I first came in JCI, it was only 2 buildings. It was so dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? They were still building the other buildings because you had guys who all was in the penitentiary together at first, and one of them might stab the other one, and he didn't get a chance to get no get back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So he's waiting on them. And so, like, they merge guys.
Yeah, the penitentiary ran there with the old penitentiary.
With the old
Y'all
penitentiary
old
closed
bitters.
down.
Y'all old bitters.
Right. So they came down there, and then those beefs was sparked up again.
Yeah.
Because these men, see, it's easy for somebody, well, I always say one coward preying on another coward, but in a lot of cases, it's easy for you know somebody already scared, so you preying on them.
Yeah.
Right? It's easy to do that, but these was men. Men was beefing, right?
Two
They was like-
two one
right,
biting back.
right,
Listen,
right.
But let
men
Ken
died.
finish.
Yeah, men died. There wasn't no such
Cold-blooded
thing
men.
as,
Yeah.
men
Cold-blooded
don't
men.
beef.
That's right.
Yeah, men do beef when they
Right.
get in each other's way.
Right.
Right. And then it was so dangerous down there because we didn't have a kitchen. So what they used to do, they would back the food truck up to our door. We would select guys to go out there on the tier to get our share of the food. If you didn't select the right guys, the guys on the other tier would take your share of the food. They would take that whole tier's food. So you had to send guys out there who was willing to kill or die for the tier's food.
Damn.
It was so savagery.
Y'all young boys heard this? I want y'all young boys to hear this before Ken finish his story.
It was really
That's deep.
it was so savagery. We ate in the rec halls, right? But you came and got your food in the rec hall. You didn't eat in there. You ate in your cell.
Wow.
And what happened was, guys was taking food back then. Guys would take your main course, take your desserts, and if you wasn't a man, then you was a bitch. It was no gray area, right? So you was keep on getting your food took, your snack took, and things like that. Sometimes, like, for example, they had to stop serving things like onion rings and Cinnamon Toast Crunch because it was always a guaranteed stabbing when they served these, so they had to take them off the menu. Things of that nature, right? And you had to go out there and eat because even if you wasn't a morning person, you went out there and put your finger in your food and lick your finger and throw it away because if you didn't, even if you wasn't hungry, if you didn't, other predators would see that. And they would say, okay, we got one. He's scared, that's why he's not coming out here. So now, if you're not coming out, they was coming in. And that's how it was back then. They coming in there, they want your food, they want your cosmetics, they want your clothes. That's why they took clothes out the system.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. Because they was coming in, they was taking this stuff.
Let Ken finish though. Go ahead and finish.
Yeah, so, growing up in that environment, everything
So
he
you
said.
18, you 16.
Yeah,
Because you know what? I want everybody to pay attention to that. See how he slow down. You see how me slow down the TT. Frank Nitty the OG. So when he speak, it's just like, we not saying he our father. We not saying he the older guy. In Islam, we call it Sheikh. The Sheikh, we just shut up and just let him have it because he been living longer than us.
That's right.
He know more than us.
Right.
He older than us for a reason. So
he
we
earned
just
it. He
straight,
earned
and he
it.
earned it. So
He
when
earned
he
it.
talk,
He earned it.
we say,
Certified.
we like on talk. That's just how we do.
yeah.
That's called respect that we trying to store back in the streets.
That's right. That's right. Being reared in that climate and being reared in that type of climate he spoke about, I realized that I ain't never gonna be the toughest dude.
Yeah.
I ain't never gonna be the baddest. I took L's. I had W's, right? But one thing that I realized that it's a possibility I could be the sharpest. So I'm gonna study, I'm gonna build myself, I'm gonna read every book I can, every spiritual book I'm gonna learn, every religion. I'm gonna go to every college course. I graduate next month in May from the University of Baltimore with my bachelor's.
Oh my God!
In
Round of applause.
2016, I
Lee, you
received.
woke up for that. He said he's graduating from college. He's a college
Next
guy.
month. In 2016,
proud
I
of you,
received
man.
President Obama Pell Grant at JCI. They brung it there.
Yeah.
A lot of brothers who went harder and was sent up the mountains ain't had an opportunity to attend those type of things.
And you got that in JCI?
I started in JCI 2016, and I came home February this year and went right to school. So
But so you came home from JCI?
Yeah, I came home from JCI.
And what year?
Yeah, and this year I came home.
Oh, so you was down there with us?
Yeah,
Face
absolutely.
came over
Yeah,
I was Jewel cell buddy.
Right, okay.
And man, Say was on the tail, man.
I heard that about
Yeah,
you.
man, yeah.
That's how I'm hooked up with Say.
He took advantage of
Absolutely.
that education. It's
Yes,
so
he did.
important.
right.
Kima too.
That's right.
Say and them was in there. The teachers was coming up there. I ain't have
right.
enough time to get in the program.
I gave
Right.
I gave my paralegals degree in that.
Yeah, I heard.
Right.
Yeah, I gave my
right.
paralegals degree in prison.
That's right.
And the lawyer paid for it. The lawyer, the first
told
time he seen me, he said, did you do this? I said, yeah. He said, man, this is one of the best ones I done seen come out of prison.
Yeah.
Right? And to this day, I work for him.
Right, that's right. But real quick, so you know what I mean? I did 27. You know what I mean? Even though I was incarcerated for something I had nothing to do with. I had another charge that, you know, they said, fuck it, get him the charge. I fought it the first trial, had a mistrial. Second trial, I got found guilty. You know what I mean? But I always felt like I was gonna get out. So, cause I knew I ain't do it. You know, I get honor to the men. Cause you know, I ain't no killer. Because having to live with being that, you know what I mean, is something that only a strong man could take. Because we've seen some of the so-called strongest break under that
indeed.
pressure
Yes,
of
indeed.
being 100. Listen, living that way is
turn
not
into
easy.
zap outs and everything.
Listen, what? Some of the
Right.
many dudes would respect some of the heroes.
You ever
that
been to
dudes
old
on.
jail?
Well, I was up Rossborough. I ain't been in old
You been to
jail.
old jail?
Yeah,
I figure you been every joint, right?
yeah.
Eastern Shore.
No, matter of fact, I have been.
So you been to all the
Shore.
Western Maryland and Jessup.
Yeah, I haven't been to Patuxent. I haven't been to Eastern
Yeah, I've been to
Shore.
Patuxent.
But I've been to JCI, MCIJ, all that stuff.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
the cut.
And then you
all
finished
that
in North
penitentiary.
Branch.
Yeah, finished in North Branch.
So take me to that day. Now they got you locked up for something you ain't do. I've been booked. I've been arrested 100 times. So I got locked up for shit I ain't do a bunch of times. So you know the confidence in like, man, once they find out, I'm gonna beat that
Right,
shit. Like,
right,
bro, I
exactly.
didn't really do it. And then you, after 3-4 months, you start praying, God, I know I did some shit, but this and that. So you in all these places, because we the same age. When you was 16,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
16.
Yeah,
so
right,
I'm relating to you on that level and on that lost generation tip. So I feel your pain
Right.
in a whole nother way. So boom, they find you guilty.
Yeah, they find me guilty. And, you know, I fight. Luckily, that, you know, even because I was young, I did do a few things. So I had a lot of people help me. So I had lawyers. But,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The motherfuckers kept shooting me down.
Yeah.
The case was high publicized. So I fought. So in 2018, Georgetown University took
They was
my
doing it
case.
for everything.
And they
And JCI, because that's when I was up JCI.
Exactly. So they made a documentary about my case. They hired some Georgetown students and a Georgetown professor, you know, worked on my case, and they made a documentary about my case. You can find it at Justice for Kenneth Bond.
We're going to put it in
Google
the link.
Yeah, you Google
Can you
it,
put the
my
link in the
name pop up.
description, Lee?
Right. So, you know what I mean? Since then, even before then, I was dealing with different innocent projects and trying to get out. So, you know, October of last year, the JRA became law. The JRA is the Juvenile Restoration Act. They say that anybody that's been locked up for a crime that happened when they was under the age of 18 can petition the court for a modification or reduction of sentence if they've proven that they've matured and rehabilitated. You've done school programs, sharpened up.
That was your cup of tea.
Right, exactly.
You drunk that motherfucker.
But I waited. I mean, because I thought they was going to exonerate me because my case had been presented to Mosby and them. You know, there's a lot come with exoneration.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? I was hoping on that. So I could have been home last year, but I waited to file a juvenile demonstration because I wanted to come home lights, camera, and action. You know what I mean? Boy, this man did all this time and for something he ain't do, to do that on a different scale. So, you know what I mean? He ain't worked that way. July 2022, we filed the JRA, finally got court date for February. Judge let me go. Wow. So, you know, but I come out and, you know what I mean, full steam ahead. You know, where can I contribute? You know, where can I enter my communities and help those young people who need mentoring, who need conflict resolution and critical thinking training? Yeah. Where can I be a blessing to my sisters, where I could speak in a way that us as men can have greater respect for the queens who rear us and bring us into the world.
Yes.
How can I build with my equals, my allies, my brothers?
Yeah.
And say, how can we build each other? How can we be still and sharpen each other and become stronger and take over the world and take our place in the affairs of men the way
Round
we're
of applause for
supposed
that,
to be?
Round of applause.
So, you know, when I see you, listen,
Oh, don't do
I wanna
that,
get
man.
on to this brother. Listen.
Absolutely.
No, man.
it's
Not
not the
me,
best
no.
hustler. Listen,
No, man.
Listen.
No, man. Not me, man.
I ain't gonna say
I
how I
appreciate
met this
you.
brother.
I appreciate y'all, man, more than
Humble,
anything.
though. I give you
shout
honor.
out, man, for,
Yeah,
for
man.
you
Thank
honor
you,
for
man.
what you're
giving us
doing.
this platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
For giving us this
It's
platform
major. It's
to speak
major.
on the issues that need to be spoke on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's sad that even the thing they doing with these squeegee kids, right?
I hate that. I hate it.
You taking these squeegee kids, you would rather for them to sell dope and coke and pills and
kill.
stick a gun in somebody's face and kill somebody
Than to wipe a window
Than to
down.
wipe a window.
Right.
I mean, what kind of stuff is this?
That's crazy.
And then you have all these people, and like I said, I asked the community, please stop voting for outsiders. Please stop voting for people who have not already proven themselves to be for the community. Please stop. You know, because they're not for us. They want to lock us up, right? They want to lock you up. They want to take your babies. I don't care how old a woman's son is. That's still her baby.
Yeah.
You know, she spent 9 months. She had a bond with this child like no man could ever understand, right? So it's important, like I said, that like when we get out there, we really got. That's why I'm so proud of this brother right here, man.
Yeah,
I'm so
yes.
proud. Look, every
Round of
time-
applause for this guy, man.
right? Because I'm looking at him, I'm saying,
Here,
Wow.
they get me real quick. I gotta post it again, man.
yes.
If you think it's a game, man. If you think it's a game, which way? This way?
Knowledge Yourself TV coming soon. Knowledge Yourself, K.Bond 0301 Instagram. Follow me.
Go to check
Knowledge
the
Yourself
document.
TV
everything.
coming
So
soon.
listen, I want to get the TT before we wrap it up. So boom, you found guilty. You gotta go for sentencing.
Yeah.
You 18 years old. You how would we say back then? You a young nigga. So I'm trying to be in your mind frame. So back then, AZ, Sugar Hill. I'm telling you the music that was
don't
out.
die.
So
You
and then they had the headphones with the
Right,
the
right.
batteries we can get back then. So
Right.
what was that morning like? You getting dressed for court? Take me through that whole day.
Yeah, man. I mean, sentencing day tough, you know,
Yeah.
because usually you don't get sentenced right when you get found guilty.
Right.
You know, especially for certain crimes, they gotta do what they call PSI,
Yeah.
sentence investigation.
Yeah.
So you know, it's really bullshit. They gonna smash you anyway, but
Right.
they gonna play the game as if, you know, no, I ain't gonna lie, man. Hey, listen, man, I ain't He-Man. I was hurting. Listen,
Shit, you know
I
what I'm
went in there that judge say life plus 60. You know what I mean? I had confidence because I felt like because I endured that eventually I'd be let out. But still, you know, like and at the time I was down for Tucson, but you know, my way wasn't easy. You know, coming in as a juvenile, it's a different thing.
Yes.
You know, it
That's
is. So, you know, listen, hey, and then I'm from where you know, it ain't that many of us. Then I'm
It's a whole
big
new
and I'm
world.
thinking I was getting money or something. I'm slicking than everybody. So yeah, hey man, I went through my licks. You know, I stood tall. You win some, you lose some. It's about being a man through it all. So you know what I mean? I did that. And anybody that asks about me didn't know me like that in that way or say that. So that's what it's about, man. It ain't necessarily about, you know, hey, everybody can't be Frank Nitty.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
Everybody can't be Frank Nitty.
Man,
Yeah.
Listen, everybody got the heart to be Frank Nitty. But you know you could be the best version of you could be.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? I admire,
I
give
always
respect.
kept freedom first.
That's right,
I
absolutely.
always chased my freedom.
That's right, no matter what.
Because I didn't believe, I was told that when you play by all the rules of the game, that you should be rewarded by it at the end. And I knew that my story wasn't supposed to end with me in a cage. You know, I always tell you, I said, man, I never told on nobody, I never considered it, right? I stayed off my homeboys, their baby mamas and their girls and their sisters and mothers, stuff like that, because it was about respect, right? And show that guy, man, look, I respect you, so I'm not gonna do this because you absent. And when it came time for the dude that you consider as your partner, but he failed, then his family became your responsibility.
That's right.
You know, and that's what we need to start getting back to out here in these streets.
Some days it's gone.
Yeah.
TT, you was convicted. What year?
97.
That was a hot courthouse.
97.
And you was convicted of?
I had 3 tent murders. And I went to jury trial for one of them. And I beat all the tent murders and the robberies, but they found me guilty for first-degree assault and second-degree assault.
Man, my man just got 30 years. Free Maul the General, man.
You know what I mean? Gave me the Mac. And for the other 2 tent murders, when I went to trial for them, since I already got found guilty for that, they just wanted the conviction. So what they did, they gave me a conviction for 5 years with a gun and just ran everything wild so I get to 30.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because the other 2 tent murders was on some dudes out their way, out Trail. But I'm saying, I know I was going to beat them, but the one I had over East Baltimore, when I went to trial for. But I beat the tent murders and the kidnapping and the robbery, but I got found guilty for assault because the dude shot me and not shot him. But I say 2 other dudes shot me. I wouldn't say he shot me.
Right.
I said, man, 2 dudes.
But he said you shot him.
Yeah, he kept saying I shot me. I said 2 dudes shot me, him tried to rob me, and he was telling me.
Remember you linked on me in the joint. Remember you linked on me in the joint. No, I got to tell y'all this, man. Take y'all back. Well, listen, man, it was one day in the joint. I got to always tell the penitentiary story. We up to old jail. We on C2. TT cooked the stir fry. Big fry, big bowl. We in the little corner, K-Von. We kicking it. So TT telling his stories when he had the Sherlin, you know what I mean, the fucking hat. You know, he telling the story. I'm feeling them. So boom, you know, if you know TT, he gets real excited. So he telling the story. I'm like, shit, man, in 88. You know what I mean? I remember 88. Yo, say, man, yo, kid, you don't remember nothing about 88. Yo, he told me that shit in front of all the homies in the record. In the corner, I was crushed like, damn, I don't know nothing about 88. Because I was trying to get in 88 with him. Because he was shot. He was hitting his little dances. Like, Sean, we was doing this, going out, Odell, Pascal. I'm like mesmerized. I'm like, shit, in 88. Yo, say, nigga, you ain't even on the porch in 88. Like, I'm like, damn, so everybody, you know how it is in the joint. Right. You shooting the bobo, nigga turn around and look. Niggas tripping off. Man, I said, man, that's my man, yo. TT, man, TT gonna be joining the staff for RawDope Podcast, man. TT checking in once a week, man. Get his content out there, man. Get the moving, man.
So I gave people the wrong thing. He said the raw dope. I gave people the real dope.
No, the RawDope Podcast. I call it RawDope because, you know, if you know anything, like you said, you grew up in a shooting gallery. My grandmother's house, the basement was a shooting gallery. So I said, how can you turn something that destroyed the community for years into a positive? And then how do you be prepared when they come at you with this thing that they think negative that you turn into a positive? Right. How would you prepare for the speech? So I said, raw is something that's authentic.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's natural. It's authentic.
Yeah,
and then dope.
You just called me about this, earlier today?
Yeah, right. And dope is something super cool.
Right.
So you put them together, that's RawDope. It stands for the rawest and dopest interviews on the planet.
Right.
You know what I mean? We just stand behind our thing is no fuck shit, no fake shit, no foolishness. Anything you say can and will be used against you on the internet.
Absolutely.
It's just that simple.
Absolutely.
Just like if you go in that detective joint and you don't understand your Miranda and you get to talking, hey, boy, I swear to God, they going to bring it up in court.
Respect.
That's another thing.
No, I like what you're doing, yo. Respect.
That's another thing I like to say to the youth out there real quick. They get jammed up and you get in these detective rooms and stuff like this.
Shut up.
Rooms, say, hey, man, I was once told by old gangsters, it's okay just to say nothing. You know, don't say nothing. It's okay just to say nothing.
Yeah.
You know, you got so many of them, they think they slick talkers, they try to talk their way about it. These are people who do this every day for a living. They went to school for it.
Yeah.
They practice about it every day for years. So, you know, it's okay just to say nothing.
Right.
Facts. So,
Man,
TT.
I learned at a young age, when just get my lawyer. And just keep, man.
I learned
You say that, that's it.
I'm
one lawyer.
I learned at a young age, don't
yeah.
talk too much because you going to, like you said, you going to talk to yourself.
You're going to dig yourself in that ditch that you don't want to be in.
You know what I mean?
you're gonna dig yourself and you're gonna dig yourself in that ditch that you don't want to be in. And I learned the hard way with that, bro. Like I think I got locked up in 2006 with that stop snitching shit was in thing, and I was so mad that the detectives was asking me so many questions. I just wanted to go to the cell, and I just tell them, I ain't no snitch. Y'all seen what happened to the Dawson family? They used that shit against me in court. And anybody know the Dawson family cases, the idiot threw a fucking firebomb through them people's houses because they didn't want you selling the shit. So I told her, my grandmother lived on the corner of the Script, 3 houses from where everybody sold dope at. How the fuck am I going to tell so they can kill my grandmother? Right. I can't do that. And they would, that shit fucked the detectives up. Right. This man said he ain't no snitch and his family not going to end up like the Dawson family. They used that shit against me in court.
But that's another thing. And for the youth, man, the reason why people don't want you selling drugs on their steps, right? As good as their house. They don't want the police kicking their door in and putting them out because they work hard for their shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, and the reason why I keep on telling people, I used to have the kids used to be out there working for me, and they had a real bad habit of when they close shop, they like to shoot the sky full of holes. And like people in the neighborhood, they was complaining, and I come around and I said, man, what the fuck is y'all doing that for? Oh man, we just letting them know we closed shop. I said, let me tell you something. People been selling drugs long before y'all was alive, right? People been having guns long before y'all was alive. I said the reason why they complain and they call the police and things like that.
Because of shit like that.
I said, because they don't want their kids sitting in there at the kitchen table getting shot in the head by a straight bullet while he or she is doing their homework. Yeah. That's why. I said, not because they don't care about you selling no dope. Just don't do it on us, don't do it on step. They'll never call the police on you. Yeah. You know, I just always tell them, start taking that type of stuff into consideration.
So listen, man, I gotta have y'all guys back, man. Hey, Ken, tell them where they can find you at on social media and give us a little briefing again on the podcast.
It's K.Bond, B-O-N-D 0301. Again, Knowledge Itself TV is a podcast that's focused on teaching a spirituality, you know, a true culture, wisdom, knowledge to our people. We deal with cultural issues. We deal with the issues going on politically, socially in our community. We have a criminal justice aspect where we got certain cases we're evaluating, fighting to help get brothers out of prison. It's coming soon. I pattern myself as a modern day Malcolm and Martin combined. Get ready. June 8th, I'm at the Baltimore Museum of Art. You know, as other events, check my podcast, more coming. We killed center stage this past Saturday. I'm working with Rod Lee, other people in the city.
Yes.
A lot coming.
And shout out to my man, Saquon Merrick, man.
Saquon's my man. That's my man.
Say, man. You know, he been in the podcast studio. That's right. Out to Monia, man.
Team, like Kim Garfield.
Hey, listen. Like Cam, the guards, everybody, man, that's working and that's grinding, man. I send my love and support 100%. And, man, they my guys, so I'm here 100%. Anytime you need my platform and these 2,200 plus people, just let me know. We're going to make it happen.
It's respect. I love what you're doing. It's major. It's honor. Listen, I can bow down. I give you honor and respect. You got that.
And then I just had to do, because while I was locked up, I was on the tier in C2. In the old jail, we was like a family. Out here, we had too many stabbings, too many fights. I don't know why I got put on that tier, but I met this man on that tier. Cook, we laughed, we joked. Our tier wasn't a bad tier at all. Right. And, you know, I met TT, and then I was sitting back, and anything about it thinking, man, we always working. That's right. You know what I mean? Even when we my girl asked me why I'm up in the wee hours in the morning, I'm just thinking, I'll be like, bro, when you write that shit down, that's cool, you do all that, but the brain, just to know your brain's still working and you can remember some shit, it's successful to me. That's right. So I was thinking, like, man, my man TT, he always talk shit, he had good stories and shit. Like, man, I'll bring TT on the podcast because I always believe in working with the underdogs. I like the fives. Fuck all that, bro. We don't want no superstars. My man a superstar. You know what I mean? I was the first coach to go to the motherfucking B-League championship against Nick. You know, old gay Nick. And you know gay Nick. He's coached all the football and all that. Y'all know Nick. You remember Mr. Nick, don't you? I went to the championship and played against Mr. Nick my first year because they picked over 30 basketball teams and I took everybody and they didn't pick up. And I went to the dance my first year. I lost, but we went to the dance our first year. And that motivated me to be what I am today. Because I'm like, in jail, in prison, they think it's the worstest place in the world, but you learn so much.
But Malcolm once said, and I'm not verbatim, he once said, a message to the black man, he said, if you cannot afford a form of higher education, then he strongly suggests that you go to prison.
Absolutely.
Because it's indeed an institution of learning.
That's right. That's right.
Prison. Like before I went to prison, I ain't had no respect for women. I ain't no respect for my community. I ain't had my respect for self. I ain't know what the fuck to do, bro. Like I told dudes think I'm crazy. I said, yo. When it took me to prison to realize I signed up every day to go out of jail to kill somebody or go to prison the rest of my life or get killed. And they're like, what you mean? Because, yo, if a nigga ride down on you and take your shit while you hustling and you don't do nothing, that's a technical foul. So then, like you said, you got to worry about somebody coming up and taking your shit. Now they going to put the word out of the stick-up boys. They going to rob me every time. So it's like, damn, y'all signed up for this. And then, yo, I might can make a fucking mistake and be loading a gun, that bitch on decock and shoot. You get what I'm saying? So much shit you know when you shoot up in the morning to go outside, you be like, man, I'm just going outside to make some money, but that shit's turned tragic. You seen it turn tragic. A good day, you seen it turn tragic. Yeah, one day you minding your business, you charged some shit, now they put some shit on you that you have no clue about.
Yeah, and that's trauma. That's trauma that our whole community dealing with.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, you know, the murders and shit, that shit weigh on us, man. And we dealing with so much pain, so much hurt for all the things we didn't experience through the years, man.
I said they got to stop trying to lock that problem up, though. That's never going to work.
Right.
That's never good. That's never going to work. And what they have to start doing, like I said, for platforms like this, for guys who have been through the storm, you know, we the web story could come out, TT, Ken, me. You know, so many, like I said, Rudy Williams, Peanut King, you know, Joe Dancer.
Dennis Wise.
Dennis Wise.
Wayne out.
Wayne, all
rest in peace, Turk.
Turk, rest in peace, Turk.
Come on, man.
These are guys I've been on the tears with. And I'm saying that all these guys are home now. Instead of keep on trying to lock the problem up. Because let me ask this real quick. What the hell happened to prison reform? 2 years ago, everybody was talking about prison reform. Now they saying lock them up, throw away the key. It don't add up.
It's the media. They get to talking that gun, that violence. Like
and jail fucked up because at one time you could earn a bachelor. This what fucks me. They say, you send us to this cage, right? I say, yo, y'all, I've been to prison. I've been to Patuxent. I've been to Hagerstown. I've been to JCI twice. I've been in MTC, which is the old penitentiary. I've been in Brockbridge. I've been in fucking BPRU. I've been in BCCC. I've been everywhere. So I say, yo, like, bro, like, if niggas sitting in here on a fucking PlayStation flat screen TV, bro, like, what happened to college? Like, because I was always wondering if I could go to jail and get myself together. When I come back out here, I'm not gonna be fucked up no more.
Right.
But if I go back to jail, then y'all letting the Suboxones and the tobacco in, and I get depressed, my mother died, your father died. Bro, I don't knock niggas for getting high because it be so fucked up. When you look out Hagerstown, if you've been in any jail in Hagerstown, bro, ain't nothing but trees, bro. You don't see a car riding down unless you angled in the visiting room. You don't see life again. And I can imagine how it look at McMillan Highway. They say you see people skydive.
Of North Branch, you're in the middle of a mountain. You're in the center of a mountain, and you might as well be in the center of a volcano, right? You're sitting down in it, and it's all it is, 360 degrees. It's nothing but trees and the sky. That's it. Like, even in Hagerstown, you can see people skating on the compound, not in North Branch. There's nobody skating on the compound.
Shit, I ain't never seen nobody skating on the compound.
Right. It's dead. It's dead.
I heard
silence.
it's worse though.
Yeah, it's dead silence up there. And when things break out, these gang wars and stuff like that, then the green team takes over the jail. That means that most times you lock down for a year after a riot. And then when they let you out in North Branch. And normally when you come out, you get 15 minutes out to take a shower and use the phone, and use the phone. You get 15 minutes, and it's gonna be 2 officers, one on each side of you, and one gonna be in behind you with a gun. Right? They're gonna have these little, they like paintball guns, but they have mace in them. Right? The glass will hit you, so when they hit you, it's like a bullet. Right? They hit you, it cuts your skin, and the mace get inside the skin, and they have your whole body burning. That's the type of stuff they doing up Cumberland right now. I'm talking about this.
Is that WCI and North Branch?
Yeah, both of them. But North Branch is worse because where your brother is at, it's like it's the equivalent of the shoe
Free
program.
Purple.
Right? Yeah, free Purple Boy and free Bobby Williams, free Porky. Like
Porky from down the road, right?
Right.
Yeah, Porky. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, these guys, and they working hard to get out of their case. They dedicated themselves, And while they're in there, they still trying to help the youth. They got to keep people from making the same mistakes they did. But not getting off topic, it's so racist up there. That it's so racist that I cannot count the times that I've been called a nigger. Right?
They say that out their mouth?
Out their mouth. Right.
That's serious.
And if you write them up, they lie and say that have all ARPs get dismissed.
Yeah.
Nothing gets won at the institutional level, and you had to take them to federal court in order to get the win. And I'm thankful to say that I took their ass to federal court and spanked them for $3,500. You know, I treated my wife to a dining room set. I told her no brand. I told her, when I gave her that, she said she needed a new dining room set when I came home. I said, here you go. I said, North Branch. I said, I ain't had the money at first. I said, North Branch insisted that you had one. That you had the dining room set. They insisted.
So, Ken, when I'm coming on your show?
Yeah, we're going to do that, man, because, listen, I see, I'm liking this. And
I like what you're doing, man.
It's coming out soon. You know, when we build, I want to talk about you as an entrepreneur.
Too. Yeah, I want to talk about you, how to do a lot of recording over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a lot of recording over there, man. And listen, man, you know, we got this podcast and we always get stuck with the biggest rapper. You know, we got really, honestly speaking, man, we got about 300 interviews, but 70 of them got effed up, fucked up, whatever you want to call it, because we ain't had no knowledge of itself for this shit. Right. You know what I mean? This podcast shit been spanking for about 10 years, and we can honestly say for Baltimore, we're like the first people to do it. And bro, you know what I'm saying? We spent a lot of thousands on this shit, and we made a few thousand. Wow. But the good thing about it is that that's my shit. So at the end of the day, if I say, yo, we want to just have convict talk, that's what the fuck we having. Or we just doing what we doing. And at the end of the day, I tell the nigga all the time, bro, I made money off this shit. I didn't make my money back, but I made money off this shit. And at the end of the day, bro, what I can do? I caught my first charge when I was 11. I was charged as an adult at 17. I got shot up at 24. I caught my first big bit, 14 years at 25. So I tell niggas all the time, like, bro, at the end of the day, bro, for once in my life, and I've been living for 44 years, so once in my life, for the last 5 years, I'm doing something I really like doing. And I don't give a fuck what it pay. Because guess what? It's paying me mentally and in my heart.
Right. A small cost.
That's it. Because guess what? When you make this content, right? For y'all just coming home, and Nitty, you need to do a show too. For y'all making this content gonna be living longer than us. And we've been here 40 years already. Right. You know what I mean? In a year 3000, they gonna be going studying my brain, studying your brain, studying your brain. If you get into this, they gonna study your brain. Sure. We don't even know nothing about it because a lot of them took us. We've been gone for 40, 50 years. You know what I mean? Just like to say, we never knew Thomas Edison. Right. But we look up on, we never, Malcolm died. Malcolm was dead 40 years before he was 30, 20 years before he was even born. But we study his shit, his words are gold to us. Right. So that's what I tell everybody, bro. Long as I got that legacy, yo, they might pay me later. And I'm in the dirt, and one of my nieces or nephews got to be the family member they find and say, this is his royalties. We had to give it to a family member. Right. Absolutely. If that's what I'm working for, I don't care. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Excellent demand sacrifice, man. And that's just how I feel like, yo, bro, sometimes we not going to see the fruits of our labor. Right. We not going to do it, bro, because at the end of the day, bro, you my age, so, you know, we want to say we 30 years late. Right. 30 years ago, you was 13. We 30 years late. We we catching shit that we had to catch behind the door, and now we old enough and we strong enough to share this shit. Imagine if when you was 15 and he was 13, a motherfucker told him, boy, you can be in TV and you can make movies, and I know the way for you. Imagine what he would have became. Right. You know what I mean? Imagine what the fuck he would have became. Imagine what TT would have became. Imagine what I would have became. We ain't know that shit till later on, bro. Yeah. So I say, man, when y'all do these platforms, your knowledge means key. It's tons of people out here will pay you to just listen to 32 years of penitentiary stories. Wow. Man, I mean, you 27 years, so it's out here to get, bro. And I don't
30,
care.
Yeah, it's 30. I was in there for 30. But yes, I definitely feel it's all the same. And I just say for all the brothers that's in there that's working on their case, and you done got shot downs on the pill, don't give up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Fight.
They tried to break me like that.
That's right.
But I wouldn't let them. Right. And I'm here now. That's right. To set the fruits of labor.
That's right.
I would like I said, I would like again to say shout out to my little brother, man, Bobby Williams, man. Free Bobby Williams, man. And free Purple Boy. You know,
Free Purple Boy, man. My brother Ricky Horton, man. I love you, boy. But fuck you. Nitty, my bad, Nitty. But listen, man, we was in the community today, and you know what I'm saying? One thing people know, man, I got to shout out a few good people. But Spliffy, if y'all know if I'm smoking Spliffies. Shout out to Spliffies, man. These are right now, man, these are unbleached rolling papers, and they have a natural tobacco leaf. And I know it say cautious on here, chemicals and stuff. That's what they doing. But I'm telling you, bro, it smoke better than the average shit. Check out Spliffies. And then, you know what I mean? If I'm smoking a blunt and if I'm rolling in brown papers, I like the Bluntville's. So Bluntville told me today that I told him I was having some convicts come on. So Bluntville provided me with trays and cigarette lighters. I don't know if y'all smoke or not, but if you don't, if you got a girl that smoke, cause y'all just coming out the joint, so you know, chicks they around. They like dudes that come out the joint. I'm a fat guy and I got picked up a couple times. I'm a fat guy. I got picked up when I first came. Yes,
they tell me you're back in style.
Yes. So you is. So I got some gifts for you guys. You know, on behalf of RawDope Podcast, Digital Impact, Bluntville's TT. I know you're a stoner, so you ain't got to buy no blunts tonight. You ain't got to get no cigarette. You ain't got to get no lighter. Nitty, you ain't got to buy no blunts tonight. You ain't got no. I don't know what you doing, Ken.
Listen, I'm on probation.
Yes, but you can give it away, man. So go down the line, TT. Where they can find you at on social media?
You can find me on social media, Slick_VA, and on Facebook, Go Get a TT.
Where they can find you at, Nitty, on social media? You don't got
it. I haven't yet because, you know, this is my first interview, but it's because you asked. I know, how could I say no?
Right.
You know, it's been a few people that asked me since I've been home, but I declined because, you know, I wasn't really into having my picture on Facebook and things of that nature. But, you know, when it was you, you know, and it was
I appreciate
RawDope,
that, man.
you know, how could I say no?
Right. So,
Right.
Yeah, my bad.
Right.
Hey, y'all, listen, to podcast community, Lee, look at this man right here, man. Mr. Bonds. He will be a household name before January the 1st, 2024. I'm predicting it. I'm calling it. This man podcast, his knowledge and his wisdom, his understanding, and his hunger to give back to his community, gonna shoot to the roof. So I look at him like our Baltimore Wallow, but in the Baltimore way. So tell them where they can find you on social media.
I appreciate that. It's on the gram, K.Bond, Bond 0301. You can check out some of the clips. Knowledge Yourself TV should be dropping this week sometime soon. It'd be like 4 or 5 episodes on there. We're doing a quick little run, see how that go. But it's all building. Is you want knowledge, you want information, you know, you want to be informed, you want to be enlightened, you want to know the path of wisdom that you travel to be the best self you could be. We talk about being fathers to our children, being proper men to our women, proper respect for our women, how to run our households. It's no religious stuff, it's spirituality. It's about being the best you could be. Check me, it's there.
And listen, man, shout out to Joe from Bluntville who provided these gifts for all the stoners out there. Again, shout out to Joe from Bluntville, man. He pulled up on me today. He gave me a bunch of stuff, and he said, man, just give it out to the people. Let them know that Bluntville's here. But Spliffy, I smoke mines out of Spliffy, but I'm gonna try Bluntville out today with the light and stuff. Just, you know, to support Joe. And Joe, I thank you. You know, man, I thank you for the opportunity, and my people gonna enjoy the trade. So if you're looking at this right now, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment. No fuck shit, no fake shit, no foolishness. Anything you say can and will be used against you on the internet. RawDope Podcast.